Test the audio for the SDSU stream, testing to make sure the audio works.
Okay, yeah. Smith, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, and I'm going to turn myself up in my headset. Is that affecting yours at all?
No, because
Okay,
mine's
all right.
the number 2 one, so I just want to make sure.
Yeah. I'll turn that down.
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Test the audio for the SDSU stream, testing to make sure the audio works.
Okay, yeah. A hazy day has graced Pullman, Washington as the WSU Cougars play the San Diego State Aztecs for the 4th time in franchise history and the first the future Pac-12 rival at Isa Field. The Cougs own the Aztecs 2-1 as they travel up from sunny Southern California to even the score. I'm Norma Fulwiler for KUGR Radio on the play-by-play tonight with my partner Smith Slye on color. Smith, let's talk about some key factors for a Coug victory at home today.
Oh, absolutely, Norma. Well, first off, you've got to talk about the QB situation right now for the Cougs. Last week, there was a huge question mark on who the starting QB was going to be if you were a fan. Of course, if you were within the Washington State Cougar or football organization, you kind of knew it was going to be Jackson Potter, who ended up being the game one starter for the Cougs. And in a press conference after last week's game, Jackson Potter admitted that he did, in fact, know that he was going to be the guy weeks beforehand. Then, of course, in that game, it was not just Jackson Potter. It was also Julian Duggar coming in for a few plays. But what left a lot of fans in, very they were questioning about it was that Zevi Eckhouse was nowhere to be found in that entire game. Zevi Eckhouse was the starter in the Holiday Bowl last year, lost out his starting spot to John Mateer, who is now with the University of Oklahoma. But it seems now it's year 2 where Zevi Eckhouse has lost out on that starting spot. Of course, fans, he wasn't starting in that game. He's high energy, hyping up his guys. And from what we've heard from very close friends with each other. So even though there's competition at that position, both Zevi Eckhouse and Jackson Potter have good chemistry, have that good dynamic with each other. So it'll be interesting if they announce the starters. It is Jackson Potter for this game, but we'll see if they go mix it up a little bit with Jackson Potter playing some snaps and Julian Duggar playing some snaps. Most likely Jackson Potter, he's a pocket passer. That was revealed in last week's game when he tried to do some running plays. He got shut down and was unable to pick up any yards. Whereas Julian Duggar is more of a rushing quarterback, and they had him on those kind of rushing plays. So if they're able to use those two weapons efficiently, then they should be able to come away with a Cougar victory.
Yeah, and speaking of Jackson Potter, let's talk about his performance last week. His first starting game of his career.
Search the slide.
Yeah, and so, 208 yards total, 1 passing touchdown. And, we were kind of talking about this part of the game. It probably would have been more if we would have gone for a passing scheme in the red zone. Head coach Jimmy Rogers of the Cougs came up afterwards in the press conference talking about how a lot of those missed opportunities in the red zone were from poor play calls, trying to run more of a running scheme, when in reality, Jackson Potter is a passing quarterback. So I'm interested to see, San Diego State is school. It's our first legitimate, I would say, test of the year. So I would expect to see a lot more passing from Jackson Potter today, just to try and make sure that we do get into the end zone today, where last week we only managed to put up 1 touchdown against us.
Absolutely. Jimmy Rogers, after last week's game, he admitted that there were quite a few missteps, he used the term box for offense, where there were delay of games, there were false starts, there were drives that kind of stalled out a little bit. And in a press conference after last week's game, Jimmy Rogers said, quote, "The ability to not adjust is on me more than anybody else. I'm not putting it on the kids. We got to adjust better," end quote. So Jimmy Rogers he's taking the blame for the kind of mistakes that happened in that game. And you mentioned the running for the Cougs. They put up a net 3 yards. In last week's game, whereas you look at the SDSU Aztecs, they put up about 200 plus rushing yards last week. Granted, that is against Stony Brook University, who they blew out last week, 42-0. Of course, Stony Brook, a lower FCS school. University of Idaho, on the other hand, a more higher echelon FCS school. But nonetheless, you're probably going to see tonight is that San Diego State is not going to be able to run the ball the way they were on Stony Brook University. The run defense for these Cougs is absolutely electric. And you saw it last week with Caleb Frankel and Matthew Durrance, 2 standout defensive players for the Cougs. It's not very in college football and in football in general, it's not often you see defensive players get that kind of recognition. But when you only put up 13 points offensively in a game, you're going to get your 2 defensive players who put up 11 tackles, 7 tackles in that game. They're going to shine through, and they're going to be the names you're looking for. And definitely SDSU is they're going to have a hard time if they're going to try and go to the ground. They're going to have to pass the ball more.
Yeah, and speaking about just kind of standout defense last week for Washington State, I mean, you got to admit those boys were getting pretty tired there towards the end of the game. Washington State offense spent less than half of the game in possession, significantly less than half. And if you want to talk about some of those issues on offense, we went 3-12 on third down efficiency against Idaho with a total of only 13 first downs with about 22 rushing attempts. And as you said, 13 net yards rushing. And I really think that has a lot to do with kind of settling our nerves in the red zone. As you said, we brought in redshirt freshman quarterback Duggar, a transfer from University of Pittsburgh. And he was there, hand off that, run a little bit, but, I mean, again, it just really didn't work out in the Cougs' favor. They were able to make a scoring drive at the end of the game, run it down all the way in for a field goal, but again, that's just not the performance that we want to see against a significantly less talented, I would say, team coming in for the first game of the season. Now, that might be nerves, that might be shaking off the dust. Again, this is a head coach and his staff that's coming up from, a smaller league, the Missouri Valley Conference. So that might be part of it. But as we get ready to go here, our beloved mascot Butch has taken onto the field, and the Cougars now are running on to start this game. We're starting a little late today. Kickoff may have been 7 p.m., but We're just getting ready to go. Anything else you kind of want to, discuss prior? We talked about defense a little bit, how defensive coordinator Jesse Bobbitt at South Dakota State in the last couple seasons held teams to an average of 9.3 points per game. And Idaho last week were held at 10. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We mentioned the defense before with those two standout guys, but yeah, Jesse Bobbitt, the defensive coordinator that was brought over from South Dakota State by Jimmy Rogers. Like you said, he's on pace to do what he did last year, holding teams to an average of about 9 or so points a game.
Yeah.
And when you hold Idaho to only 10, that's a pretty good sign. If you're Jimmy Rogers, it means you made the right choice with bringing that defensive coordinator with you to the Palouse. And of course, when you look at defense, so many of these starters on defense are transfers from South Dakota State. That's Colby Humphrey, Tucker Large, Matthew Durrance, Caleb Frankel, Anthony Polano, Max Ballone. There are so many transfers on the defensive side of the ball that this is basically the South Dakota. It's going to be really confusing saying South Dakota State and
San
SDSU.
Diego, yes.
Absolutely. There are so many transfers from South Dakota State on the defensive side of the ball. And then, of course, you flip over to the offensive side of the ball. The running back room for the Cougs is completely full of jackrabbits. Angel Johnson, the redshirt senior, is from South Dakota. Kirby Voorhees, the redshirt sophomore, is from South Dakota. And Maxwell Woods, the redshirt freshman, is also from South Dakota. So no matter what running back they go with, it will always be a jackrabbit in some form or another. And Kirby Voorhees was a bit of a standout last game. He put up 19 yards as opposed to Angel Johnson's -4.
Exactly.
And Angel Johnson was expected to be a standout running back for the Cougs, and that just didn't quite pan out. There was a notable play where they were pinned back in their own zone. Angel Johnson tried to run up the gut and got lit up, forced a fumble, and set up a field goal for the University of Idaho. So again, that run game for the Cougs is going to have to be better in this game if they want to come away with a win. And it starts with run blocking on the offensive line. You're looking at John Lester, Ashton Tripp, Brock Dew, AJ Viapulu, Christian Hilborn. These starting offensive linemen, they need to be better at making those gaps, creating opportunities for Angel Johnson, Kirby Voorhees, and possibly Maxwell Woods to be able to run. If they can do that, the Cougs can 1,000% come away with a win in this.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here, just waiting for the coin toss. It looks like the Cougs have it, and will kick us off on offense here at Giesa Field. We will be right back with the start of the WSU football game. But don't go anywhere. You've been listening to KUGR Radio. And down on the sideline, we have our sideline reporter here with an update. Abby Barrickson, anything interesting happening down on the field?
Thanks, Norma. Yeah, I'm down here. Beautiful night on the Palouse, as you mentioned before. Been hazy today, but the smoke is really starting to clear as we go into the night. Student section filling up, other than the very back corner. But in one of his pregame interviews, Coach Rogers really gave a lot of credit to the student section last week for making this an atmosphere that a lot of these guys are really excited to play about. So along with improvements, he really wanted to focus on making sure they put something on the field that this student section could stay excited about. And they definitely seem excited to start this game after these players came out. So yeah, we'll also keep an eye on the wind. It was a little windy earlier. It seems like that's calmed down as well. But otherwise, back to you guys.
Thank you, Abby. All right, and starting off the kick for Washington State, they had won the coin toss and deferred to San Diego State to start off the first quarter. That's going to be kicker Ryan Harris, the transfer from San Diego Mesa College his freshman year. He is now a redshirt sophomore, kicked off all games for Washington State last year, and we're just counting down the seconds till we get to experience another Cougar football game.
Absolutely. The vibes here are electric. There's just nothing quite like college game day on the Palouse. The Cougs might not have the biggest stadium, might not be able to bring in the most fans, but with what they got quite the atmosphere here in Giesa Field.
Absolutely. Fans still trickle in from the RV lots, beginning to fill the stadium. And the kick is off. We have started the first quarter. And it'll pass through the end zone, and San Diego State will start at the 25-yard line. And let's discuss a little bit. San Diego State starting quarterback Jaden Denegal played 3 seasons with the Michigan Wolverines, including in the national championship against Washington in 2023. This is a guy, he's 6'5", 280 pounds, massive, massive quarterback. I have a feeling he's going to be a huge, huge presence on the field for the Aztecs. Not to mention last week against Stony Brook, as we were discussing, threw for 207 yards and 1 touchdown. Denegal on the shotgun. Man in the backfield. Snap. Hands it right off to Sutton. And he'll run it down for a gain of 5 yards down to the 30.
Yeah, Denegal, he's used to playing in a very large stadium, a lot of fans. He was asked by reporters before this game how he was going to feel playing against the Cougs, and it's hard to say that there's very much difference between this and playing in Michigan.
Snap. Again, off to Sutton, looking for a gap there, and he'll take it all the way down for a first down on the San Diego State 37-yard line. That'll move the chains for the Aztecs on the first drive of the game.
Lucky Sutton, he had 100 yards in last week's game. He had 2 touchdowns as well, so a very standout running back for San Diego State, and so far he's able to get that first down, put them in a pretty good spot here.
San Diego State receivers trips right. That looks like Jaden Denegal lines up under his center. He'll back up into the shotgun. Man in the backfield. Again, Sutton. Hands right off to him again. Tries to fake it there. And again, Sutton will run for another 5 yards, taking it all the way down to the San Diego State 42-yard line. Or excuse me, 47-yard line.
And so far, he's averaging about 5 yards per carry so far. I mean, granted, it's only been 3 plays so far, and all 3 have been running plays. So the Cougs, they were great with running defense last week. We'll see if they're able to keep it up here. So far, 3 for 3 for the Aztecs.
Denegal loaded in the shotgun. High snap. Little play action. Wide open, and it's batted down by Washington State.
Great play there. That's Caleb Frankel, the linebacker, able to get in there and get that pass break up. I mean, we said he was a standout player last week, and that's wide right there. Even though he's a linebacker, he's able to get in there, get his hand in the middle of the play. And so, if they go to the air for the first time today, and they get shut down. So we'll see if they go back to the ground again. Maybe hand it off to Lucky Sutton once more.
Super experienced defense on the Wazoo side of things. Caleb Frankel, 4 seasons with South Dakota State. Denegal again. Play action. Long pass downfield. And it goes nowhere, about 5 yards in front of his intended receiver. And it looks like that's going to be Jacob Bostic intended. Yeah, Jacob Bostic from Palatine, Illinois. 53 receptions last week against Stony Brook, averaging about 17.5 yards per catch. Just a little overthrown there as we line up again at the San Diego State 41-yard line. It'll be 4th and 5, and they will bat it away to Washington State. And the kick is short. It'll bounce its way down to the 19-yard line, and San Diego State will take down WSU special teams and stuff the ball right there at about the WSU 19.
That was Tony Freeman there receiving the punt from SDSU. Like you said, the kick came up pretty short. Got a bit of a fortuitous bounce for SDSU. Bounced forward towards between the 20 and 10-yard lines, around the 15-yard line. Tony Freeman kind of put in a hairy situation there. He had to try and receive it, and then he had 2 Aztecs on him immediately, and they hit him real hard. He wasn't able to call for the fair catch, so he wasn't protected from that hit. And, of course, SDSU got really hyped after they got that stop. I mean, I say stop, I put that in quotation marks. They're at the 15-yard line, but we'll see how this Coug offense fares first drive of this second week.
All right, WSU lined up at their own 18-yard line. It'll be Jackson Potter and Angel Johnson lined up in the shotgun. Receivers, trip right, snap. Play action to Johnson. That's going to go down to Trey Lechner, the tight end, and he'll scramble for about 5 yards.
Very quick play there. Yeah, definitely faking the handoff to Angel Johnson. I imagine SDSU is probably watching film on Angel Johnson, probably getting ready for those run plays. And Trey Lechner didn't really get very much usage in last week's game. Only picked up 17 yards off of 1 reception. So they go to him first play of the game. He's able to pick up only 1 yard on that play. So we'll see if they keep going to Trey Lechner or if they mix things up a little bit here.
2 men in the backfield. Receivers wide left. Motion from Angel Johnson. Potter looks left, looks right, and it's batted down by 12 on Aztec defense. Owen Chambliss, the 6'3" sophomore.
Yeah, Kirby
intended there for, again, Trey Lechner, tight end for the Cougars.
Absolutely. Just didn't quite pan out there. I mean, trying to run a bit of a slant route, trying to go up the middle, but just great hands there from Owen Chambliss, able to get in there. No pass interference, able to knock that ball down. And now it sets up 3rd and 9. So familiar sight from last week, 3rd and out.
We'll see if they can convert their first 3rd down of the game. Receivers wide left. Angel Johnson in the backfield. Potter takes a snap. Wide throw. And kind of batted out of bounds. Looks like there might have been a late hit, but no flag is thrown on Potter. And that will be the first 3rd down conversion that was no more for Washington State. Again, they had that same issue last week. 3 for 12. Kind of a rough statistic going against the Idaho Vandals. So we'll see what they'll do here. It looks like they're going to punt it away again for San Diego State's 2nd possession of the game.
Yes, deja vu fan there for Coug fans. This is exactly how that University of Idaho game started out. They're going to have to kick it off again, and that's just one more stalled drive for the Cougs.
And the kick is out. Oh, and it hit off a Washington State player. The ball is live. Oh, and it's fumbled. Oh, I can't believe what I just saw. I don't even know how to describe it. Bounced off the back of a Cougar special teamsman. My goodness. I don't even know. Go ahead.
Norma, I'm no better, Norma. That was the most crazy thing I've ever seen in college football, in the NFL, in the CFL, anywhere I've ever seen football. You're right. The kick went up, hit one of the Washington State Cougars who was.
Yeah. Looks like that was illegally off the back of a Washington State special teams player. Linebacker Gage Jones, redshirt freshman from Eagle, Idaho, then picks it up and runs it into the opposing end zone, but it is called back for a San Diego State 1st and 10.
I know. I was confused with that too because
Yeah.
I saw it hit off the Cougars' head, and I'm trying to do the mental math on the rules there and how that is going to get sorted out, but they made the right call there. Yes, it hit his head at about the 40-some-odd yard line.
Yep.
So they'll place the ball there. So actually, that's pretty unlucky for the Cougs. It sets up SDSU almost at midfield for this drive. But yeah, Gage Jones got a little excited there. He saw the ball leak out after it was touched by the SDSU player, ran it in for a touchdown. He got really hyped for that, but ends up not going the way of the Cougs there. But we'll see. Both teams had their drives kind of stalled out there. As I was mentioning before, the Cougs have yet another stalled drive to start out the game where they don't even pick up the first down. They were only able to gain 1 yard total. So we'll see how this defense, if they're able to shut down the Aztecs or if the Aztecs are able to adjust. When the Aztecs went to the air in that last drive, it didn't quite work out. When they stayed on the ground, when they were handing off the ball to Lucky Sutton, that's where they picked up those first downs. We're trying to drive down the field. And as soon as they tried to go to the air, everything kind of fell apart. So we'll see if they stick to the ground or maybe they try mixing some of those passing plays.
Yeah. Smith, I got to say, it's plays like those that make me realize I really got to touch up on my NCAA football rules and regulations. But with that, we will take a short break as the Washington State Cougars take a quick timeout, and we will be right back with more Cougar football. All right. San Diego State at their own 45. Denegal hands off to Sutton once more. Excuse me, play action. It tripped me out. My own eyes, and that will be a 10-yard pass to tight end Seth Adams, number 19, that will carry them down into Coug territory for the first time tonight. Lining up at the WSU 40. Denegal motion in the backfield. Snap. Hands off to Lucky Sutton, and he'll barrel his way in for a gain of about 2 yards.
What a play there from Seth Adams. The first kind of throwing play that's panned out there for the Aztecs, and then they immediately go back to the ground. Lucky Sutton, who's been very consistent, picking up almost about 5 yards on that play.
Denegal looks left. Wide lateral pass. Complete lateral pass downfield. They'll trot it out for about a yard.
That was Jordan Napier on that catch as well, number 2 for the Aztecs. He's a player who's kind of a jack of all trades on special teams and as a receiver. The Wazoo defense has been scouting him intensely for this game. They're really worried about what he can do.
3rd and 3. Denegal. Play action. Over to the right side. It's stuffed by Washington State defense, intended for Donovan Brown, and it'll be a loss of yards.
That's a tough one there if you're Donovan Brown. A quick pass from Denegal over to Donovan Brown, but he just had about 4 or 5 Cougs on him immediately. He had nowhere to run, no yards after the catch, or yak as some people call it. So he's kind of stuffed there. It sets up 4th and 5. We'll see if they go for it, but it looks like Denegal is staying out there, so it seems like the Aztecs are going to go for it here.
On the WSU 46-yard line, they'll line up on 4th and 5. They got to get to the 41 for a first down. The crowd is hype, and the bowl is starting to fill. Denegal surveys the field in the shotgun, scrambles, looks downfield, wide open receiver, touchdown, San Diego State. That is wide receiver Jacob Bostic with the first score of the game. San Diego State now leads Washington 6-0 with 10 minutes left in the first quarter.
And Jacob Bostic, he's one of the best receivers on this Aztec team. He hasn't been getting very many targets so far early on. But it's just way too easy there for the Aztecs. I mean, Denegal had a ton of time there, drop back into the backfield, look downfield, and there was not a Coug in sight when Bostic made that catch and ran it in for a touchdown. Way too easy.
San Diego State now lining up for the extra point. Snap, and it is good. Aztecs lead now 7-0 as the Washington State defense trots off the field. That's going to be Gabriel Placencia with his first point of the game.
About 10 minutes left here in the first quarter. But yeah, that was just a drive there that really panned out for the Aztecs. They were struggling to go to the air in that first initial drive. They were kind of having to lean on Lucky Sutton a little bit. But then in that drive, you saw a couple great passes there to Napier, to Bostic. They were able to kind of now finally get the ball in the air to those receivers. The offensive line for SDSU did a great job giving time for Denegal to be able to drop back, to be able to find someone. Of course, a couple of those passes were really quick off the snap. They knew immediately who they were going to. So that's just a really kind of not quite a picture-perfect drive for the Aztecs, but we'll see how the Cougars respond. They stalled out that first drive, and if they do it again, this might be a lost first quarter for the Cougs.
Yeah, and speaking about offensive weapons on the San Diego State side, I did a lot of kind of watching their film, seeing not only how they did last week, but how these transfers coming in were doing at their old schools. Running back Lucky Sutton, preseason all Mountain West team selection by Phil Steele and Athlon Sports. I'm not surprised at all that they're either running a play action to take those defensive players onto Lucky Sutton, watch him, keep him humble, keep them that way, or hand it off to him. And again, he's picking up right now an average of 5.4 yards per pass or per carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you go back to that Stony Brook University game. The Aztecs had about 200-plus yards passing, had about 200-plus yards rushing. Very balanced, kind of a dual-threat offense. They don't just run the ball. They don't just pass the ball. And you saw it right there. Lucky Sutton's kind of their old reliable. He's going to pick up about 5 yards per carry. Hand it off to him 2 times. You're going to get that first down. Yep. And then you have those weapons at wide receiver, tight end that you're able to throw to. Seth Adams had a great reception there on that drive as well. Seth Adams was a player I wasn't even paying attention to. I had to pencil him onto my spotting chart here.
Yeah.
And so he's immediately being an impact player But of course, that's not to say that the Cougs don't have those offensive weapons. It's just they haven't quite really gotten a chance to shine last week and so far in that first drive. Angel Johnson hasn't really been able to get any chances to shine. The wide receivers, Josh Meredith, Jeremiah Noga, haven't really been getting very many targets. Jackson Potter has seemed a little shaky in these first couple of drives. But what we saw last week is that he kind of starts to piece it together as the game rolls on. And of course, when they start to lean on Julian Duggar a little bit and share those kind of snaps. But we'll see how the Cougs respond here. If Jackson Potter can kind of shake off those nerves and just keep growing as this game moves on.
Yeah, and I would say Washington State here and Jimmy Rogers, they need to come up with an offensive scheme and fast. Total yards for this game so far, the Cougars have had 1 net yard this whole game, whereas San Diego State rushing and passing yards have had 73. So they've got to figure out something here and fast, or this game's going to go south really quickly for the city of Pullman.
Absolutely. You mentioned it before. The bowl here at Gisa Field is filling up. The student section around kickoff, it wasn't quite full. It's not quite at capacity yet, but still a lot of crimson and gray out in the student section. I mean, the Cougs have one of the best student sections in all of college football.
Absolutely. And I would 100% agree. Being in the student section as a student, that's a rowdy experience. And then, watching all the parents and the loyal Cougar fans kind of trailing from the RVs is, this bowl is now full, as before the game we were kind of looking going, hey, where are all the Cougars? San Diego State now to kick off to Washington State. Kick is good and long, and that will trail way out of the end zone, almost hits the band, and that will put Washington State again at their own 25 right on the Pac-12 logo.
And that was Leighton Smithson out there for the Cougs getting ready to receive. He ends up not having to really do anything there. He's a receiver, but he didn't really see the field outside of special teams last week, of course. And also one notable injury we should mention is Devin Ellison for the Cougs, transfer who came in this year, has had a boot on his left leg before last game. He's not playing in this game either. So that's one wide receiver that fans are really excited to see, and they didn't quite see him last week, and they won't be able to see him either this week. So whether he'll be able to be healthy to be able to come play in these coming weeks is unknown, but definitely a big loss in the wide receiver room.
Tony Freeman now trotting out at wide receiver for the Cougs. Trip left, man in the backfield, and a flag. Looks like that might be false start on Washington State. Delay of game. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty to start off the second offensive drive of the game for Washington State. Just not the best look.
Absolutely not. I mean, I said deja vu last time. This is about as deja vu as you can get.
Yeah.
There was also a false start play last week as well on the second drive.
Mm-hmm. Motion in the backfield. Potter looks to Angel Johnson. He'll carry it. He breaks free of the receiver, and he trots down the field. Almost picks up the first down, just short by about 2 yards.
That is probably the most explosive play we've seen out of Angel Johnson so far this year. 8 yards, and we mentioned before he had net -4 last week. So to see him finally pick up, have a pretty decent run there. And there was a huge gap made by the offensive line by the Cougs. So that's something that the Cougs need to keep working on, as we got 9 minutes, 30 seconds left here in the first quarter.
2nd and 4 from the Washington State 36. Tony Freeman now in the backfield. Potter takes a snap. Looks left, and it's almost batted out of bounds by a San Diego State defensive lineman. Pass is broken up. Intended for receiver Josh Meredith. Excuse me, that's going to be wide receiver Brandon Ganasha-Morthy. I was mixing up my 8s and my 8 teams.
I was going to say, too, I saw number 8 running there, and I didn't recognize him. I was trying to figure out who that was. You're right. As we've got 9 minutes, 17 seconds left here. 3rd and 4.
Mm-hmm.
See if the Cougs, another 3rd and now. See if they can't convert.
Cougs trips receivers on the right. Potter lines up behind his center. Motion in the backfield from Ganasha-Morthy. Play action from Potter. He looks right. And again, wide. Batted down again by edge rusher Trey White. We had some thoughts about him before the game. The last time SDSU and WSU met up, again, he was on the watch for Trey Wright. He's an aggressive edge rusher, and we hadn't really seen anything from him, but that's the second ball of the drive that he batted down on that same kind of that short route on the right, way off to the side there.
Yeah, the intended receiver was Kirby Voorhees, the running back, and Trey White immediately becoming an impact player with already 2 times now where he's kind of shut down the Cougs.
4th down, Cougs will kick it downfield. And SDSU will wave fair catch at their own 18-yard line. Again, an unsuccessful WSU offensive drive there. It didn't even get into Aztec territory, didn't even cross their own 50-yard line. So kind of what we were saying earlier, they have to come up with an offensive scheme that works. And whether that's passing the ball until you get into the red zone or passing it the entire time, because Potter is such a passing quarterback. That was how he was successful last week. 15-yard touchdown pass to Josh Meredith, the only touchdown of the game, even though we were second and goal last week. So again, this doesn't surprise me much, but I was kind of hoping for better, considering Rogers in that post-game press conference was saying that those poor play calls should not be blamed on the players at all, but on him and his staff.
Yeah, absolutely. No, when the Cougs when they scored, when they put together scoring drives last week, it was when they were passing. It was not when they were trying to run, do quarterback sneaks, none of that. They were just trying to pass the ball. And that last-minute drive that they had to set up the game-winning field goal off the boot of Jack Stevens, that was all passing plays. It was Jackson Potter throwing darts to his receivers. And they start out that drive with a run by Angel Johnson, which was probably the best we've seen from him so far, able to pick up those 8 yards or so. But then when they tried to go to the air again, it seemed like they were just getting shut down. Potter's specialty wasn't quite clicking. It was back-to-back fade routes. He was trying to find that receiver on the near side, trying to get that first down. And he just was feeling a lot of pressure from that defense. Those linebackers, those rushers were on him immediately. And he had very little time to get that throw off, which is why he threw 2 kind of ducks to those receivers that were just short, just out of their reach, not quite right into their arms. You know, if the offensive line for the Cougs just gives him a little bit more time, he can throw some more hard darts right into their arms. And that drive could end up completely different with 2 receptions and a first down, and could possibly end up with the Cougs driving downfield. But the offensive line just wasn't quite able to get it done, and now the Cougs have to turn over the ball with 9 minutes left in the first quarter.
Yeah, and again, starting out at a deficit is not the way that anyone wants to start out a game at home. But, you know, we were talking about what schemes work for WSU right now. Their most successful rusher last week was Kirby Voorhees from Lutz, Florida. He's a transfer from SDSU after 2 seasons in South Dakota. But he had 6 carries for 19 yards. Their most successful passer was Tony Freeman for 64 yards. So, you know, it's all about finding what works. And I think that Jimmy Rogers is trying to become that winning team that can do a run-pass option, that can run the ball. But right now, I think it's more about winning football games and establishing himself as a coach in a larger conference before you can move on to those more complex offensive schemes that he's trying to run.
Absolutely. If fans are wondering why the offense for the Cougs, like you kind of mentioned, why it's kind of not seeming like they not necessarily that they don't know what they're doing, but they're like trying to figure things out, is because Rogers is literally trying to figure things out. He's trying to understand what weapons he has. Fall camp isn't enough to figure that out. It's not until you get game speed reps that you really start to realize what you have and what you don't. So far, it's been Voorhees and Tony Freeman.
Absolutely. SDSU now lining up at their own 19-yard line. Danigal loaded in the shotgun. Receiver stacked right. Motion in the backfield from Bostic. Danigal rushes left. Open to Bostic, and it'll be a gain of about 1 yard. Scrambled way into the backfield, and they'll pick up about a yard. I believe it'll be 2nd and 9 now, 2nd and 8 at the 21-yard line.
That's where having Lucky Sutton, such a good running back like that, can set up those kind of fake handoff passes like that. It just works really well for the Aztecs.
Danigal communicating with his O-line. Christian Washington now in, the running back in the backfield. Subs in for Dutton. Danigal and Washington in the shotgun. Takes the snap, play action, fires over to wide receiver Donovan Brown. Batted down by Washington State. That's going to be broken up by number 8, Kenny Worthy III, the redshirt freshman cornerback there. And they'll trot out a new defense.
And he got absolutely hyped after that pass break up there. Put the straps, Slye on him after he knocked down that ball. I mean, and the Cougar defense, they're incredibly hyped as they make some subs here.
3rd and 8 now from the 21-yard line. My guess is they're going to run a pass play. Danigal looks left, fires, broken up. Again, Wazoo there on defense. That's going to be cornerback Colby Humphrey, redshirt senior.
Yeah, so far the defense for the Cougs has seen these passes out of the hand of Denegal, and it's like they're reading his mind. They know who he's going to go to. They have plenty of time to get there and make that pass break up. It almost looked like that could have been pass interference there from Colby Humphrey. Kind of came in and hit him from behind, but I mean, no flag thrown there. The Cougs will take it. It's 4th and 8, and looks like the Aztecs are going to try and have to kick it here to the Cougs.
Lined up at the 21. No gain on that last play. Pressure, and the kick is good. It'll trail. Fair catch is called at the WSU 37-yard line. Puts them in good position. Oh, and a flag is down. Let's see what the ref calls here.
Yeah, we'll see what they call. It looked pretty clean to me. Tony Freeman called for the fair catch, received it. No one was hit after the play. We'll see if it adds or subtracts from the yardage.
Looks like that's going to be catch interference on the kicking team. So San Diego State there with their first flag of the game. 8 minutes and 7 seconds left to play. San Diego still leading by 7 points here in the first quarter. It's going to be Hunter Green who punted 41 yards to the WSU 38-yard line. But that's going to be interference on number 42, Brady Anderson, for interfering with the fair catch.
This is a golden opportunity right now for the Cougs. You set them up on the 52-yard line. You're in Aztecs territory. You're down 7-0 here with only 8 minutes left in the first quarter. You have an opportunity now to be able to drive, pick up a couple first downs, and be able to. I mean, the Cougs have yet to pick up a first down so far in this game. So if they're able to get their first down, start their first really successful drive, and be able to tie up this game. And courtesy of our sideline reporter, Abby, we have she saw on the sideline that the offense, after that last stall drive, came together. They sat down for a meeting. Jackson Potter came into the middle of the circle and high-fived every single player in that circle. And that's kind of something we have seen from the Cougs even after last week's game, too, when they had these stall drives, when they had these missteps, these mistakes, these things that weren't quite clicking. They are not blaming themselves. They are not getting down on themselves. The vibes for the Cougs are very high. Even when they fail, even when they don't quite succeed, they're still hyping each other up. It's almost like it's a team full of glue guys. Those guys who just hold the team together and know they can't turn on themselves. Because honestly, if the Cougs were to start turning on themselves, things could go from worse to worser.
Yeah, and, if you're San Diego State right now, that worser has occurred. That's a 15-yard penalty. They have essentially given Washington State now a free first down and a half. If I am head coach Sean Lewis, I am displeased. That was, we couldn't really see it well from up here, but after the replay, that's a clear late hit on Tony Freeman. Again, Sean Lewis, his second season with the Aztecs after spending the 2023 season with Colorado Buffaloes as the offensive coordinator. Last year, he was 3-9 with San Diego, so he's got chip on his shoulder, ready to come into Pullman. Pullman beat San Diego in Snapdragon Stadium last year, 29-26. So, again, as I talked about in the pregame, Cougs are 2-1 against the Aztecs, so they're coming in here ready to settle the score, and they've proven so far that they can make those explosive pass plays. Denegal is huge. He's 6'5", and I'm sure he can just look right over his lineman and see exactly who's open downfield, and they've done a great job of giving him enough time. I don't know if fans have picked up on this, but he's sitting in that pocket for 5 seconds, just looking, surveying all of his options, and that might be part of why it is easier for the WSU defense to get out to those receivers, but he has plenty of time to survey all of his passing options.
Absolutely, yeah. The defensive line for the Cougs has kind of struggled a little bit being able to break through and get to Denegal. Because at the end of the day, offenses struggle when they have that pressure on them. When the defensive line is able to break through, when you're able to get those blitzes, to be able to put pressure on them. And so far, Denegal hasn't really felt that pressure. But like you said, the defense has done such a great job of adjusting. When they had that first drive, that scoring drive that has now made it 7-0 SDSU, they were passing the ball a lot. They weren't just handing it off to Lucky Sutton. They were passing the ball to those receivers, those weapons that they have in their wide receiver room. But then in that next drive, immediately following it, the cornerbacks, the safeties for this Wazoo team locked down the air. Denegal tried to go to his receivers, had that time to be able to find them, be able to put these darts right into their hands, but it didn't matter. They were batted away by these cornerbacks. And so defense just doing a great job of adjusting.
Penalty brings the Washington State offense all the way to the San Diego State 48-yard line, already in enemy territory. Let's hope here for a drive and a score. Motion in the backfield. Dutton subbed in for Potter. And he'll run it, finds a gap, and he'll drive it down for about a 5-yard gain. Dutton, the redshirt freshman transfer from University of Pittsburgh. And, again, he was kind of our red zone quarterback last week. He's more of a runner, and he just did it again. Picked up another 5 yards just on his own.
Absolutely. We mentioned it before that last week. He wasn't really quite used for his rushing, even though that's kind of his identity as a rushing quarterback. Jackson Potter's more of the pocket passer. Duggar is more of the runner of the runner. And we saw right there it worked out as Jackson Potter gets subbed in now for this play.
2nd and 4, 7 minutes 30 left to go. Motion in the backfield. Potter again, loaded in the shotgun. He'll hand it off there. And the Cougs will scramble their way down for about a 2-yard gain there. It's going to be number 9, running back Kirby Voorhees, now subbed in for Johnson. And they'll run a quick pass play here. Jackson under his center. And they'll try a tush push. But I don't think it will be successful there on 3rd and 1. 7 minutes left to go. Clock running. And it looks like they come up about a yard short.
Interesting play call there. Jackson Potter, they're going for the tush push a little bit there, kind of like a makeshift tush push of sorts, trying to jump over that line, trying to get that first down. And it looks like they're going to spot him short. It's going to set up 4th and 1. So, I mean, if you're the Cougs here, you should probably go for it. 4th and 1, you're in enemy territory. You could possibly get this first down, possibly keep this drive alive, or at the very least get there, be able to set up a field goal. You just got to start to chip away at that 7-0 Aztec lead so far here in the first quarter.
4th and 1. Cougs sub in wide receivers Jeremiah Noga and Josh Meredith, along with tight end Trey Lechner. They're going for it. 4th and 1. 39-yard line. Potter will hand it off, and they've got it. Looks like there's some discourse on the field, but from up here it looked good. And that'll move the sticks for the Cougs for the first time all game of their own effort.
Absolutely.
Besides that 15-yard field or penalty that was real helpful.
Absolutely. So it seems like they're looking like they're starting a successful drive here. Those last two really stalled out. And we'll see now with the first down, fresh set of downs for the first time. We'll see if they can't maybe get something going here.
Potter in the shotgun. Motion from Freeman. Play action. He looks downfield. Scrambles. Lateral pass caught. All the way down to the 4-yard line. That is Carver Pabst. First reception of the game for him. First reception, I believe, all season.
Yeah,
That's the true freshman.
Pabst got some reps last week on defense. He didn't get anything on offense, and he gets his first catch for a big gain to put the Cougs in the red zone with the ability to strike now and tie up this game. 7-0 Aztecs still lead it, but the Cougs are in a golden position here to maybe possibly tie this game.
All right. 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. Motion from Lechner. Potter. Play action. He looks right. Short pass lateral. Trey Lechner in. He's hit the goal line. Will they call it? And it's good for a Cougar touchdown. The first of the evening. Trey Lechner with his first touchdown of the season. Lechner, the redshirt sophomore from Glacier Peak High School. A Washington native.
That is a gritty touchdown there from Trey Lechner. They pick the handoff there from Jackson Potter, rolls out, has Lechner all day. He's open. He immediately had an Aztec on him, but he just kind of pushed him off him, dove, hits the pylon. That is just the most gritty touchdown you could possibly get if you're the Cougs, and that's kind of the identity of this Cougs, is it's just this gritty football team.
Jack Stevens on the extra point, and it's good. And that'll put the score at 7-7 with 5:18 left to play in the first quarter here at Giesa Field. While the Cougs take a quick break, so will we. You've been listening to KUGR Radio, the student voice of the Palouse. Cougs now send the ball down to the Aztecs. They'll start it at the 25. And let's talk about finally a successful drive for Washington State. What do you think were kind of those successful elements that we saw?
Well, you see there, the Cougs were finally able to give a little bit more time for Jackson Potter in the pocket there. I mean, there were a couple times where he had that time to kind of sit in the pocket, look for something. We mentioned he's a pocket passer. That's what he does. He's able to connect with his receivers, able to connect with Troy Lechner there for that touchdown. I mean, now the Aztecs have an opportunity to maybe strike back.
Denegal for San Diego hands it off to Sutton. Bounces off the back of one of his linemen, and he'll trot down for a gain of 6 yards. Ball now at the Aztec 31-yard line.
And Lucky Sutton has just been a menace to the Cougs on the ground so far tonight. He's been consistent. 5, 6, about maybe even 7 yards. He's just very, very consistent.
Clock running, less than 5 minutes now in the first quarter. 2nd and 4. Again to Sutton, and Denegal had tripped me up. Play action, trotted out, about no gain there.
And it was a good fake handoff. If even we can't even tell who.
I'm really far from the field. That's my excuse.
Exactly. No, but Denegal, he really sold it. Really, even the Wazoo defense, they all converged on Lucky Sutton. And Denegal, even though he did have the ability to possibly roll out to his left and be able to pick up a few yards, he got stuck there. It's still 3rd and 4 and 3rd now. I mean, we'll see if the Cougs can't possibly shut it down, as the student section here does jaws what they do with every single 3rd down.
3rd down. Washington State linebackers pull up tight. Safeties trot up towards the line of scrimmage. So timeout is called. State. That's going to be the first timeout of the half for San Diego State. Too much movement there on WSU defense, I'd say. Looks a little chaotic. Called the timeout. Reassess what they're doing.
Absolutely. Definitely a little bit of miscommunication there. Like you said, the defensive line there for the Cougs was moving around a lot, shouting at each other, trying to sort it out. They had to push some men off the field. And they might have had too many men out on the field. I wasn't quite counting there. It's hard to count to 11, make sure they have all their ducks in a row there. They had to kind of sort that out. There's 4 minutes left here in the first quarter, 7-7 after the Cougs tied it on that last drive, as they're getting right back out here after that timeout to see if the Aztecs can't put something together here. They're 3rd and 4, so we'll see if they can't convert on this first down.
All righty. Again, 3rd and 4. Big 3rd down for Washington State. More of a morale thing at this point. Denegal on the shotgun. He'll back up, looks wide downfield. And it is out of bounds, intended again for wide receiver Donovan Brown.
Man, that was a mile-high pass from Jaden Denegal. You want to talk about a Hail Mary? That was the definition of a Hail Mary right now. He was just trying desperately to find Donovan downfield, but just way too long, not even close to his arms. I mean, the pass drew Donovan way out of bounds if he was even going to try and catch it. Now it seems the Aztecs are going to have to kick it away.
4th and 4. And they've got the kicking team out. Kick is good. It'll kind of wobble its way and trot down. No fair catch called. Freeman on the return, and he'll run it down to the WSU 30-yard line. Gain of about 5 there from the fair catch. 3 minutes and 43 left to play. Score's all tied up now. And Jackson Potter and his crew will start at the 30-yard line.
Now, Tony Freeman, he's kind of similar to the Jordan Napier of this team, that kind of jack of all trades. And he's able to kind of, doesn't call a fair catch there. He had a moment earlier in this game where it was a little scary. It almost seemed like he was going to get rocked there by the Aztec defense. But that one a little bit more fortunate, as he sets up the Cougs in a good spot here for Jackson Potter, who comes out for the Cougs.
Potter, loaded, man in the backfield. Motion from Angel Johnson as they'll take it across to the other side of the field and pick up about 2 yards on that play.
What a play call there.
Yeah.
Immediate snap to Jackson Potter and Angel Johnson, who was in motion, just doesn't barely, it's almost as though Jackson Potter didn't even catch the ball. He just light hands, just immediately tapped it right into the hands of Angel Johnson, who tried to rush it here on the near side to his right, but just not, only able to pick up about 4 yards, but still a good start there from Angel Johnson. Better than -4 last week.
Absolutely. 2nd and 6, 3 minutes, 15 left to play in the first quarter. Jackson alone. Receivers, trips left, looks left, wide downfield. Intended there for
Leighton Smithson.
And it looks like he just kind of got lost on the route. Ball landed on the ground behind him, wasn't looking.
A lot of confidence from that throw from Jackson Potter, too. He got the ball. He kind of felt like he was going to throw there immediately. So definitely targeting Leighton Smithson off the bat. But, of course, just not quite the best throw there from Jackson Potter. And, again, he had that pressure on him immediately. So he kind of had to get that ball out pretty quick and just not anywhere near Leighton Smithson. He was a little confused when he saw that ball come down.
Potter. Motion from Freeman. He'll look left towards Freeman. And it's caught for a Cougar first down. Tackled by Tano Latuli, 6'2" junior for San Diego State. But that'll move the sticks. Cougar first down there. Potter throws to Meredith.
And that was a hustle offense right there. After Jeremiah Noga just got the first down, you got 2 minutes, 38 seconds left, but they are hurrying as they got that pass off to Jeremiah.
Potter hands it off. Tries to stuff it up the middle there. And it's good for another first down. That'll move the chains. Leo Pulalasi at running back in for the first time all game. Potter, receivers, trips left. He'll take it to Lechner, tight end. Push a little too far there in the backfield. Pick up about a yard.
Again, the first time we've seen Pulalasi there on that handoff there before that pass to Lechner. And in 2nd and 9 here, the Cougs have picked up a couple first downs now, and so they converted last drive, able to get a touchdown. So it seems like the offense is starting to get into a groove a little bit, and we'll see if it pays off here. But so far, a pretty decent drive they're putting together here.
2nd and 9, minute 45 left to play. Hudson Cedarland in now for tight end Trey Lechner. Motion from Freeman. He'll move to the right. Lateral pass immediately from Jackson Potter, and he'll pick up about 5 yards.
Great pass there to Tony Freeman.
Complete. Yep.
And then, of course, Carter Paps, number 21 for the Cougs, one of the tight ends, was able to block for Tony Freeman to be able to keep that defense off him just for a little bit. I mean, he does get brought down, does set up 3rd and 3, isn't quite able to get the first down, but that's a play that Carter Paps was invaluable, able to get that block and allow Tony Freeman to get those few extra yards.
Freeman picked up, as you said, 6 yards, 3rd and 3 now. Clock winding down, just 1 minute left. Score still 7-7. Cougs at the San Diego State 30-38. Potter fumbles with it a little bit, decides to run it up the middle for a gain of about 1 yard.
What a play call there. Big Wildcat formation. The snap went straight to Kirby Voorhees. You saw it was lined. Jackson Potter was lined up for the snap, and then immediately, right before the snap, moved off to his right, allowed Kirby Voorhees to fill that void. And then Voorhees, like you said, he kind of bobbled it a little bit as it got into his hands. I mean, he's not a quarterback. He's not usually supposed to be taking those snaps. But I mean, it sets up 4th and 2, but it looks like Jackson Potter's going to come off the field here. I wonder if they call a timeout, but try and see what they do. If they're going to go for it or maybe go for a field goal.
Veteran center Brock Dew there, trotting off the field, a little tender on that right leg, but we'll see what they have to say about that. And then Abby Barrickson down on the sideline. She has an update for us down on Giesa Field.
Yeah, hi Smith, hi Norma. Interestingly enough, last time the Cougs faced San Diego State at San Diego State, it was their homecoming weekend. And now we are here for WSU's homecoming weekend. So San Diego State definitely came out and made that statement they wanted to make of, you took our homecoming last year, we're going to take it back. And the Cougs came back, retaliated against that. And since then, the crowd has really been into it. Someone in the student section has a beach ball now. So Coug fans they were kind of losing them a little bit in the beginning, but now everybody's really excited about this drive. So see what they can do on offense. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Abby. Center Brock Dew back in the game. Seems okay on that right leg. Snap. Potter looks left. And that's to Josh Meredith, who will pick up the first down. Getting dangerously close to that red zone. That's what I like to see.
The Cougs haven't really seen Josh Meredith very much this game. I think it might be his first reception so far today. He only picked up 31 yards yet in last week's game, so it's good to see the Cougs start targeting him a little bit. He does have the only touchdown so far this year when Jackson Potter connected with him last week, so we'll see if maybe he targets Josh Meredith a little bit more in this drive.
20 seconds. 1st and 10 from the 33. Potter, play action. Looks all the way downfield. Deep pass. Oh, and it's batted down by San Diego State. Intended there for WSU receiver.
Intended for Carter Paps there, but it was broken up by Chris Johnson, number one of the cornerbacks for the San Diego State defense. That was just good defense right there. No pass interference. He saw the pass coming in, and the throw was a little bit wide, not quite into his arms, but just still a good pass break up there from Chris Johnson on SDSU.
Cougs got a full 6 seconds. 2nd and 10 from the 33. Potter hands it off there for a run play, and that will run the clock down to finish out the first quarter of the second game of WSU's 2025 football season. Score still 7-7. And as the Cougs take a short break, so will we. Thank you for listening to KUGR Radio, the student voice of the Palouse. Welcome back, Cougar fans, to Giesa Field, where the San Diego State Aztecs and your Washington State Cougars are tied up 7-7 here to start the second quarter. Smith, talk about what you saw that first half that is promising for WSU's offense.
Well, I mean, look, when it started out, there was not a lot of positives to look at. It was kind of, I mentioned it before, the term deja vu. You were seeing what you saw last week with the stall drives, the false starts, the missteps, the box. But then, of course, in similar fashion last week, the offense is starting to put it together here as they were able to pick up a touchdown there from Trey Lechner, the tight end. It's tie game now, 7-7, but the Cougs are starting to kind of piece things together now. They've been subbing wide receivers in left and right. You and I were mentioning that off there, that it's a little trippy trying to figure out who's in that wide receiver because they keep changing it.
Cougs at the 30, motion in the backfield. Potter with play action. He'll scramble to the right, looking for an option. He'll throw it wide, and it's out of bounds. Intended for wide receiver Landon Wright again. Another new receiver in for Washington State. You know, I think at this point, they're just trying to figure out what works, who meshes well together on those pass schemes and things like that. Brock Dew again will trot off the field. The veteran center that has played for, I believe, 18 games in a row. 4th and 9 now. Cougs will line up for a field goal. Field goal kicker Jack Stevens, the redshirt freshman, will line up from the WSU 30. And the kick is good. That'll put 3 points on the board now for Washington State, making the score 10-7 with 14:48 in the second quarter.
And you gotta love Jack Stevens there after he drills that field goal there. Incredibly hyped as he's hyping up his boys as they're getting off the field there. Last week when he was able to hit that game-winning field goal there, he got incredibly hyped as well. Again, he's kind of a glue guy on this team. Last year, he didn't play that much, didn't really have that many. I think he was 0 for 1 last year.
Yep.
So when he comes into this last week, he's able to hit those two kind of clutch field goals. He makes them 2 for 3. Now he's 3 for 4, I believe. So Jack Stevens just a really electric guy, even though he's on special teams. Usually you look at your electric guys like your wide receivers, your tight ends, your QBs, those kind of guys. But Jack Stevens just has a lot of energy there, even just as a field goal kicker. But there's a lot of energy here from the Cougs as they take the lead here 10-7. There's 14 minutes, 48 seconds left as we just started the second quarter. So we'll see now as the Aztecs can get the ball back. If they put up a touchdown here, maybe take back the lead.
As the Washington State student section now sings out the Washington State fight song, both teams will trot out onto the field after the 49-yard field goal from the Washington State 30-yard line. And again, he's got to feel pretty good, as you said, 3 in a row after going 0 for 1. But yeah, tell me, what you've seen from San Diego State that's promising on the other side of the field there. Jaden Denegal has made some smart passes. Again, in terms of passing yards, it's 54 for San Diego State now. For the first time all game, Washington State has surpassed that now with 100 total yards to San Diego State's 81.
Look, as good as the SDSU offense has been, the defense for the Cougs has done a great job of adjusting. Those first couple of drives from the Aztecs, they were kind of punching the defense for the Cougs in the mouth. They were able to drive downfield, able to get that touchdown, and it was looking like the defense was just unable to kind of stop that aerosol. I mean, look, we mentioned before, Lucky Sutton, very, very, very consistent with running the ball there. Hand it to him, he's going to pick up that 5 yards. He's kind of getting, he's that old, reliable kind of member of that team. And then when they were able to go with those weapons in the air, able to go to their receivers, Donovan Brown, you're able to find those guys. And then what happened is the drive preceding that touchdown, the Wazoo defense, that's Colby Humphrey, you have, Caleb Frankel, and Anthony Polano. You have these guys who are able to get in there, get pass breakups, and be able to set up opportunities to stuff them and to stop them from being able to scoring. So yes, Jaden Denegal and his receivers, along with Lucky Sutton, have been very electric, very fun to watch. But still, the defense for the Cougs does such a good job of adapting. They evolve, they figure out what they're doing wrong, and they are able to somehow shut down a really good SDSU offense.
Yeah, and we had talked about WSU defense almost all the entire pregame. We were chatting about that yesterday, kind of prepping for this game. We were chatting about it when we got to the stadium, talking about WSU's new defensive coordinator, Jesse Bobbitt. Not only does he hold teams to an average of 9.3 points per game when he was out South Dakota, but when he was there in his first season, his defense held 6 of their 15 opponents to a no-score game. So I don't have enough good things to say about WSU's defense. And again, I don't ever want to discredit Idaho. Always a solid FCS team, and they only scored 10.
Yeah.
So I've been pleased with what I've seen. It's just kind of figuring out what works, Coach Rogers saying they want to utilize that run pass option. Just got to kind of get the grease going, kind of shake things out a little bit. It's going to be Cougs now. Punt it over to the Aztecs. Ryan Harris with the kick, and it'll sail away into the end zone.
Yeah,
Almost hit a tuba.
Jordan Napier there on special teams, the punt returner for the Aztecs, having a bit of an easy night. So far, the past couple punts, he's not had to return them at all. You just kind of had to watch him go back into the end zone for a touchback. There's Aztecs an opportunity here to set things up. Got 14 minutes, 48 seconds left in the second half. 10-7, Cougs are leading it. And again, we'll see if the Cougar defense is still able to adapt, or if maybe Denegal and his offensive weapons are able to find some way to break through. I mean, we mentioned before, Jesse Bobbitt holds teams to an average of only about 10 points. And so far, the Aztecs have 7. We'll see if they maybe are able to break the average for Jesse Bobbitt.
Bert Emanuel Jr. now in at quarterback for San Diego State. And he'll fake the handoff and try to bury his way down. Gain there of about 2 yards. And that will be his first possession of the game. Taking out Denegal and putting in Bert Emanuel Jr., the junior from Houston, Texas. 6'3", about 230 pounds. So they've got some solid physical quarterbacks on San Diego State side of things. Emmanuel again in the backfield. Wide open, and he'll run it up the middle there. He'll push himself all the way down to about the 29-yard line. Still, that's going to be 3rd and 7. 14 minutes left to play in the half. So San Diego State's now going to need a big drive here to get themselves out of this kind of sticky situation. 3rd and 7 again from the San Diego State 28-yard line.
We'll put Denegal back in.
Denegal on the shotgun. Bounce back, looks left. Again, another wide throw. And it's caught. It kind of babbles into the arms of, that's going to be Jacob Bostic, who had a fantastic game last week against Stony Brook. 53 reception yards, averaging about 17 yards a play. And that'll trot them down way into Cougar territory at the 33-yard line.
Yeah, that was just a dart from Denegal. I mean, Colby Humphrey was kind of trying to track down Bostic. He was on him for the most part. It looked like Humphrey may have been able to get his arm in and maybe get the breakup, but Bostic kind of got a bit of a lucky bounce. It bounced into his arms, kind of was able to reel it in as he fell down. Kind of bobbled the ball a little bit, but still got the reception. Again, they don't ask how, they ask how many. He was able to get that catch, and he puts them in such a great position here early on in the second quarter. 13 minutes, 15 seconds left. Cougs still up 10-7, but now the Aztecs kind of knocking on the door of a scoring drive here.
Referees now ruling on the field was complete catch, but the refs are reviewing the play. Washington State is saying incomplete pass, but we will have to wait for a decision by the referees down on the field tonight. Your game officials tonight, head referee Nolan Dumas, looking at the play down right now, and we'll see why they are calling that an incomplete pass and pushing it back in WSU favor.
It looked a little interesting. Like we mentioned, he kind of bobbled the pass a little bit, didn't quite reel it in really cleanly. Granted, we mentioned before, we're pretty far up here, up in the press box at Giesa Field, so it's hard sometimes to see down there to see if he really did keep possession of it. Did it bobble out of his hands when it went to the ground? We can't quite tell.
Yeah.
And it looked like the Cougs, when they were in their huddle, when they were looking at the initial replay, they seemed to be really convinced that that should be incomplete, and we'll see what they call here.
And they will rule that an incomplete pass. And yeah, like you said, you do have to have full and complete control of the ball when you hit the ground. And it was ruled, kind of after bobbling off of that Cougar defense, that he hit the ground before he had full control of that football. Let's see up the replay right here. Deed up, and it looks like that bounced off of his shoulder before he could make full control of it.
And that's massive. That backs the Aztecs back up, and they're going to have to punt it away.
4th and 7, and they will kick it away to WSU. Flag is down. Looks like that might be offsides.
And they're going to blow the play dead here. see what they call here. If it's an offside, false start, who exactly is at fault here?
Looks like from the reaction from San Diego State, that's going to be a penalty on Washington State defense. Oh, okay. That's going to be false start on number 17 for San Diego State, Jacob Bostic, the receiver that just made that incredible almost catch, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I was a little confused when they blow the play dead. Usually, if it's a offsides, it'll be a free play almost. They'll add on or subtract whatever the yardage was there, but they blew it dead. So definitely a false start there, and gives the Cougs even better positioning here. As we'll see if they can't get a good kick.
Ryan Harris with the kick, and it soars way down to the WSU 11-yard line. No fair catch waved. Tony Freeman will try to run it, and he'll run it out of bounds there at the WSU 19-yard line. 13 minutes left to play. Cougs lead San Diego State 10-7.
And what a great kick there, 93 Hunter Green for the Aztecs. Tony Freeman was kind of lined up almost around the 45-yard line. The Aztecs were pinned down pretty far back in their own zone.
Agreed.
So Tony Freeman was trying to, at the 45-yard line, more to the 35-yard line, trying to receive that catch there. He had to back up a long ways, and now the Cougs are on about the 19-yard line. We'll see if they can't get something going, but they're definitely pinned down here.
Potter in the shotgun, man in the backfield, immediately looks right, complete catch to Meredith, who breaks free of the tackle, a third for a first down. They might call that a little bit short. Let's see. Nope, that'll move the chains.
Oh my goodness, that was an electric play there from Josh Meredith.
Right off the bat.
A quick pass to him right from Jackson Potter, and it looked like it's an all-over moment. He's going to get brought down by the defense. They're going to tackle him. But like you said, breaks the tackle, breaks it again. I mean, that's just, again, gritty football. These receivers, able to stay on their feet and push through.
Motion from Freeman. He'll run left. Potter hands it off to Johnson, and he'll barrel his way in for about a gain of 7 yards.
And Angel Johnson looking a lot better than he did last weekend.
Absolutely.
I mean, he was, we mentioned it before, it was almost comical, -4 yards for Johnson last weekend, and it ended up being Kirby Voorhees, who picked up 19 yards, who I don't think Coug fans were really expecting Kirby Voorhees to be the standout running back. They were thinking it was going to be Angel Johnson, but so far in these first couple times he's been getting the ball, he's been able to get quite a few gains.
2nd and 5 from the WSU 35. Potter off to Angel Johnson immediately, and he's gone. Breaks through the line, and he'll be brought down by San Diego State at the San Diego 40-yard line. Brought down there by cornerback Bryce Phillips, the senior, and a flag is on. That's going to be a holding penalty on Washington State offense. Number 83, Adamola Fulwiler, the tight end, redshirt senior, and that'll back the Cougs up all the way to their own 25-yard line. Huge penalty.
And you want to talk about erasing momentum? They started on about the 19-yard line. Now it looks like they have them set up at the 25-yard line. That's just absolutely backbreaking on a great running play from Angel Johnson, but it's usually those ones that end up having holding on them where you're able to break free for a gain. So tough one there for the Cougs.
Potter in the shotgun, hands it off immediately. Cougs will scramble there. Looks like maybe a gain of 1, 3rd and 14.
And that was Maxwell Woods, the running back, one of the backup running backs for the Cougs who came in here. I think this might be his first run of the game so far as they subbed out Angel Johnson. But, you got 11 minutes left in the second quarter, still 10-7, Cougs leading it. 3rd and 11, I mean, this is a drive that looked really promising with those first couple plays, that Josh Meredith reception, that Angel Johnson run, and it looks like things kind of just fell apart with that penalty there from Fulwiler.
Receivers. Trips left. Motion in the backfield. Potter alone. Immediate pass, and it's high and out of bounds. Intended there for, again, that's going to be Maxwell Woods, the running back who was subbed in. And it's going to go nowhere. 4th and 11 now. The Cougs will have to punt it away after what looked like a really promising drive. And, we've seen a couple teams this week around the country who have struggled from being undisciplined. And this is just one of those things. You have to have that discipline so you don't get, as soon as I say it, sorry. And that's going to be, that's going to be offsides on San Diego State. A full 2 feet into the offensive line as I was speaking.
That is about as blatant of offside as you can possibly
Stop my
get.
sentence.
It looked like that was number 20, Miles Kit Denton.
Yep. Oh. All right, so they're actually going to call that on the offense. Looks like possible, baiting there. And I guess they called it before San Diego State could get that flag up.
That's an
or
interesting
could take
one
responsibility for that flag.
It looked like number 20 there on SDSU really jumped over the line. But, of course, the refs on the line are going to see more than we can possibly see. They're going to see those flinches, going to be able to see that play kind of happen. So, I mean, perhaps they got the call right there, but still, it makes things worse for the Cougs.
WSU, ball trailing from the punt. No fair catch called. San Diego State scrambling, and they'll be taken around out of bounds at their own 19. So they'll set up at the 19-yard line, right by the Pac-12 logo. Talk about a promising drive, just really thrown off by penalties.
Absolutely.
Man.
You kind of hit the nail on the head when you mentioned that discipline. Discipline is such a key factor in college football. When you have drives like that, where you had that reception to Josh Meredith, where you had that run by Angel Johnson, you had that big run by Angel Johnson that would have put the Cougs on about the 40-yard line in Aztec territory, and it's just reduced to nothing with that penalty from Slye. Where, the Cougs had a couple penalties last week. They were playing really clean football so far in this game. They only had that one false start back at the beginning, but since then there weren't very many penalties against the Cougs. And then 2 right there on that play. One to bring them back to kill that run from Angel Johnson, and the other one there to back them up further to that. Then because now it's going to set up the Aztecs on about the 25-yard line or so. Still 10-7. Cougs are still leading. They got 10 minutes 24 seconds left in the second quarter, and I mean the Aztecs have a great opportunity here to just turn things around for themselves and maybe get themselves back in the lead.
Yeah. And as WSU takes a quick break, we'll go around the country with some scores from other conferences. South Carolina now beating South Carolina State 24-3 with 7 minutes 40 left to go in the third. And I don't know if you watched this game today. We were sitting in the press box to watch South Florida upset number 13 Florida Gators at home 18-16. And, just a couple others. Alabama absolutely destroys UL Monroe and Mississippi State. Unranked, another upset, takes down Arizona State 20-24. So just a couple scores for you for football fans across the country as we look back to our own stadium here, beautiful Giesa Field. And I kind of, I want to talk about that, giving that ball back to San Diego State. What can they produce on offense? Right now, they're 0 for 5 on third down conversions, which fares well for Washington State because, yes, they have scored a touchdown, but that was a long downfield pass from Jaden Denical, about 54 yards, making up for almost all of their passing yards at the time. So, I don't have a ton of faith in San Diego State to make a scoring drive right now, especially if those conversions are at 0%. With, a full quarter of football being played.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you saw there in that last drive with SDSU, you saw Burt Emanuel Jr., the backup quarterback. I shouldn't say necessarily backup quarterback for SDSU. He's kind of their second option. He's kind of the Julian Duggar of this team. He's that rushing quarterback. He came in for some rushing plays, was able to only pick up a couple yards. The defense for the Cougs able to stuff him for the most part. But when they wanted to go to the air, they put in Jaden Denical, and he had an absolute dart downfield for Ball State. He almost reeled it in. He was really close. Of course, they ended up reviewing it and ended up determining that it was incomplete. But what I think you're probably going to see so far is that was the first time you saw Emanuel Jr. I think if the Aztecs are going to do a quarterback running play, they're going to put in Emanuel Jr. and they're going to lean on Denical more for his arm.
Denical now in the backfield, running back Christian Washington takes the ball, finds a massive gap there in the line. And he'll run it down there for some change. Pickup of about 8 yards.
We've mentioned it before, the ability of the defense to adapt. Like you mentioned, there was a huge gap up the middle for Washington to be able to try and run, but the Cougs immediately closed it.
2nd and 3. Washington again. Brought down almost immediately. We'll have to check, but it looks like no gain there. Big stuff from WSU defensive players.
And they're not giving Washington an inch. Every single time he thinks he has a gap to be able to run, whether he went to the right side, whether he went up the middle, he just can't quite get it. The defense just closes the gaps immediately. They sense where the holes are. They know where he's going to be able to run, and they just shut it down. 10-7 here. Cougs still leading. 9 minutes, 36 seconds left in the second half.
All right. 3rd down. San Diego State 25. Can they get their first conversion of the game? Danigal looks left. Wide open. Receiver. And the Washington State defense again will bring him down. No gain.
That was Donovan Brown there, able to reel in the pass. But like you said, no gain on the play. The Cougs have done such a good job wherever, whether they want to go over the ground, whether they want to pass it, they just converge on these Aztecs players. They have no room to breathe, no room for yards after the catch or yards for carry. They just can't get anything going. The defense for the Cougs loves to adapt.
Yeah. Parker McKenna for Washington State on those last 2 tackles. As San Diego State punts it away. Sailing high into the sky. And it'll bobble in favor of San Diego State, back the other direction. But it looks like Washington State will take that at their own 40.
Yes, it's up there on the 45-yard line there for the Cougs. Not the best kick from SDSU. That was from Hunter Green, the punter for the Aztecs, but sets them up in a really good spot here. They got 8 minutes, 40 seconds left in the second quarter. They're up 10-7, but still, that's not enough of a lead there for the Cougs. We saw last week it can come down to the wire with Idaho. They had to be able to get that last scoring drive there to get that field goal to make it 13-10. So the Cougs need to take advantage of every single offensive drive they get, and it starts with this one right here. They're about halfway through the second quarter. If they can get a scoring drive here and start to pull away from the Aztecs, it can be the difference between them winning this game or losing this game. If they get stuffed, it could start to swing back the way of the Aztecs.
Absolutely. And, if Washington State scores right here, that's a 2-possession game versus if San Diego State's able to stuff them and then go back and score. That's the difference between a 1-possession and a 2-possession game, which, when the clock is winding down, that's a big difference in terms of, how long it actually takes a team to get down the field.
We got Zevi Eckhouse and Julian Duggar playing catch down the sideline. An update from our sideline reporter, Abby. She said that Smithson just came out of the injury tent. He got a little banged up on a play a little while ago. He came out of the injury tent. He looked fine, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see Leighton Smithson still out on the game.
Yeah, and, we talked about, again, why is WSU utilizing so many receivers? But, they have injuries. They have to kind of see what works. Smithson, I did see him kind of go off the field. Didn't seem like a leg injury. He was kind of holding on to his elbow a little bit, but we'll see if he trots back out onto the field as they flip-flop and pull kids in and out just to see what meshes. This is we talked about this before the game. This is a brand new team, brand new setting. The coach is in a new place. He's in a new league. And then he brings in 30 of his own kids. And then for a total of 75 new kids, there's kids coming in from high school as well. So it's really about what works and what doesn't. And, you can do all you want in practice, but this is the place to figure out what is working against an opponent.
And we talked about it off the year, the fact that with all these transfers, specifically from South Dakota State as well, there are quite a few returning Cougs on the team that were a little displaced by those transfers, both from SDSU, Julian Duggar, also from Pittsburgh. You got these guys coming in from all over the place, freshmen coming in from high school. So there were a lot of Cougs who were returning Cougs on this team who felt like they didn't quite have a starting spot anymore. They were replaced. They were pushed out by a lot of these new guys brought in by Jimmy Rogers. And so it's interesting to see the dynamics out in the field. For the most part, it seems the vibes are pretty good on the sideline, good on the team, not a lot of animosity. But we'll see how that maybe changes as the year goes on.
WSU will start the drive at their own 48-yard line, just 2 yards, still Aztec territory. Potter's got a 3-man backfield. Receivers or running backs on either side. Take his time. Immediately hands it off. There to Ganache Murthy. Finds a break. Makes it for a first down for Washington State. Will move those chains almost immediately.
Man, Kirby Voorhees had an absolutely massive gap up the middle to run. I mean, Kirby Voorhees has been a bit of a standout. Again, we mentioned it before. People were expecting Angel Johnson to be the standout, but Kirby Voorhees has been really turning some heads so far in these first two games. As I mean, like you said, there was two men in the backfield. You had Puolasi and you had Voorhees, so you had two guys you could possibly go to. Voorhees is still out there now, but first down in the Aztecs territory.
Potter, immediate pass over to Freeman on the right side, and he'll jog it down there for a couple yards.
A similar play there from last time when Tony Freeman got the ball. He has one of his men, number 8 for the Cougs, to kind of block for him to get him a little bit of time to be able to rush out to the side, not trying to pick up the most amount of yards. He does pick up 6 there, so, able to decently move the team downfield, not quite enough for a first down, but that's kind of Tony Freeman's identity. They just quick pass right to him, and he just tries to run out of bounds on the side, just pick up a couple yards.
7:30 left to play. Cougs 2nd and 4. Motion. Immediately hands it off there to Voorhees, but he will be tripped up by his own 2 feet. Possibly a gain of 1, possibly none.
That's just unlucky there if you're Kirby Voorhees. I mean, you had a really great run last time. You get the ball again for a possible opportunity to move out to the right, the far side, to be able to get past him, but you end up losing 2 yards on that play. Like you said, tripped over his own 2 feet. Just very, very unlucky. And we'll see if the Cougs bounce back here. 3rd and 6, just tough spot right now.
Receivers, stacked left. Josh Meredith in the game now. Potter looks to Meredith. Oh, my goodness, and it looked like he might have handed it off. Josh Meredith with the catch there, and it was snagged right out of his arms by San Diego State defensive player, number 33. That's going to be Brady Nassar, the edge rusher, and we'll have to see what the call is from the referees.
That was a bit of an interesting one. We've seen some. I mean, again, it's college football referees, so you got a few. It's a little iffy sometimes, but it looks like Josh Meredith got that catch, was brought down.
Kind of stuck his hand out almost.
He almost just handed it right into the hands of the Aztecs. Agree. Not sure exactly what he was doing there, but if they get the call right here, it should be he was down. No reason why this should be a fumble. But you got 6 minutes, 44 seconds left, and the Cougs still leading 10-7.
Yeah, so it looks like he was down. That's going to be a complete pass for Washington State. That would have been a huge turnover. Huge. And as 4th and 1 now, let's see if Washington State's going to go for it. They did last time. 4th and 1 and got it. 1 for 1 on 4th down conversions for the Cougs.
It's looking like they're going to. It looks like the offense is still out on the field. Looks like it is still Jackson Potter out as the QB. So we'll see. Maybe they try and do that tush push like they did last time. It didn't quite work last time. Or we'll see. Maybe they try and do a little passing play here.
Potter in the shotgun. Voorhees in the backfield. The snap. Hands it off immediately to Voorhees. And it looks like he's stuffed. No good from 4th and 1.
The offensive
actually
line
a loss of a yard to make it 4th and 2. Kind of just stuffed up the middle there. Huge stop for San Diego State.
It's just really a rough drive there for Kirby Voorhees. He started out with a very monster run up the middle. He had a lot of room to run. Was able to put the Cougs in such a great spot. And then he has the back-to-back kind of muffed run plays where he just couldn't quite get anything going. He tripped over his own feet. He gets brought down there. The offensive line didn't really give him very much to work with. And how the Cougs see if they're going to try and maybe kick a field goal. We'll see what they're trying to do here. Oops.
Yeah, and again, that's Trey White on the tackle, a guy that we didn't think was going to be much of an issue, but that's the 3rd tackle for loss this game for Trey White. San Diego State offense goes for a pass right side, and it's no good. Flails out of bounds there.
Yeah, Denegal trying to find Jordan Napier there. And Napier he's been very quiet so far this game. I mean, the Cougs have been paying attention to him. They were expecting him to be a bit of a standout guy, but they've done a really good job of kind of containing him.
Only 1 reception for 3 yards on the night for Napier. Denegal chatting with his line. Man in the backfield. Receivers left. Play action from Denegal. Immediate quick route to Napier downfield, and that'll get him to the logo. for a first down for San Diego State. And it looks like a WSU defensive man is down. That's going to be cornerback number 1, Chris Johnson. And he is assisted off the field. He looks to be okay.
It's a little interesting there.
And then he goes right back down.
He got up, looked like he was about to get off the field, and then just kind of fell back down again. That's a bit of a worrying sign. Not sure if it might be a concussion or just an injury to the body. Not sure exactly what's happening here. The Cougs will take a break, so the Aztecs. But it definitely, on that play there, Denegal was able to get a quick pass to Jordan Napier right up the middle. And I mean, speak of the devil, we were just talking about him not being very productive so far tonight. And he just picks up the first down for the Aztecs.
He must have heard us.
Exactly.
Yes. Alrighty, well, as the WSU breaks for injury, we will take a quick break. Thank you for listening to KUGR Radio, the student voice of the Palouse. Denegal. Pass fake. Over to Napier. Kind of battles his way through a couple tackles there. Looks like possible gain of 1.
Yeah, Jordan Napier got the pass there, tried to stay on his feet, did a pretty good job staying on his feet, finally went down and just missed. Parker McKenna came across trying to lower the shoulder on him and just missed. I mean, got lucky there. Parker McKenna, big man there, 6 foot, 225 pounds, and just Napier's lucky he didn't connect.
5 minutes 40 left to play. 2nd and 9. Denegal hands it off to Napier. Motion in the backfield, does an backflip off of Washington State defenders for a gain of about 3 yards. And the clock will keep running.
Man, Napier, we mentioned it before, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He's a receiver, he's a punt returner, he's a kick returner, he's a running back apparently. And he got brought down there by Matthew Durrance and Parker McKenna, 2 big bodies that just kind of stuffed him there as he got flipped over almost onto his head as they made that tackle. So Napier's been putting his body on the line so far tonight.
San Diego State 0 for 7 on 3rd downs tonight, 3rd and 6. Motion. Denegal hands it off to Lucky Sutton, who will get couple yards, but he gets bottled up just short of the first down. It's going to be 4th and 4.
That might be the shortest run we've seen so far from Lucky Sutton. I mean, we mentioned before he was averaging about 5 yards per carry there. He only picks up about 2-ish, so it sets up 4th and 3. I mean, it looks like the Aztecs are going to have to kick it away. But again, another stuffed drive there. I mean, the defense for the Cougs has just been so standout so far in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be for Aztec special teams. They're kicking it away is Gabriel Paciencia. Kick will spiral. Fair catch called by Tony Freeman down at the WSU 8-yard line. Cougs will line up. Or excuse me, not the 8-yard line. The 13-yard line. And let's see if they can make something productive happen on this drive. Last offensive drive, again, killed by penalties. And then the punt, killed by penalties. So, and you know, we had talked about this a couple minutes ago, the difference between a 2-possession game and a 1-possession game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you got 4 minutes, 12 seconds left in the second quarter. You got enough time for maybe one more drive, and then the Aztecs would have a little bit of time. They wouldn't have that much time left to be able to respond. So a scoring drive right here, led by Jackson Potter, could be going into half, could be the difference between having momentum or having it stripped away from you. So we'll see if the Cougs can't build some momentum here.
Angel Johnson in the backfield. Potter takes a snap. Immediate handoff to Johnson, and he'll find his way around. Pick up about 5 yards.
Johnson looking significantly better. I mean, we mentioned it before. He's looking a lot better in today's game than he did in last weekend's game. And it's just like that, those kind of consistent runs. You don't need him to have to run or rush for 20, 30 yards or anything like that on a given play. You just need those like Lucky Sutton, consistently 5 yards every single play. You can hand it to him twice and you can get that first down.
Motion in the backfield. Potter takes the snap, looks left. Open receiver there for WSU. That's going to be Leighton Smithson. Concerned with an injury earlier, but he seems to be okay. Completes the pass for WSU. That'll take it, move the chains for a Cougar first down.
We were kind of talking about before, like they keep subbing in these different receivers. It feels like every single receiver it has had a chance to be able to make some kind of impact, whether that's Josh Meredith, whether that's Noga, whether that's Smithson. You know, they just keep finding ways to get in and make plays. So even the guys who don't necessarily start all the time, they find ways to be effective.
Smithson and Meredith lined up on the right. Motion from Freeman. Potter immediately to Freeman, and he'll take it down by about the 31-yard line. Pick up about 6 yards.
We were just talking about all these different receivers, and now it's Tony Freeman he's getting in on the action. He's able to get a pass there. And Jackson Potter so far not really handing the ball off, just getting passes.
Potter again. This time to Freeman. He'll roll himself out of bounds. Not quite enough to move the chains. It'll be third and waiting for that there. 2nd and 3. 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 21 seconds left here in the second quarter. 10-7 Cougs still leading. And I mean, they're on the verge here of possibly a scoring drive.
Again, Meredith lined up on the right. Potter immediately takes it. And that's going to be again. The Cougars will take it all the way down there to the 35-yard line with a breakout run.
Man, Kirby Voorhees just had so much room to run. That's probably the biggest gap he's seen all night. And that was kind of similar to the run that he had in the last drive, too. He just found that gap, was able to get upfield, be able to put them in such a great spot here. That's the difference between being pinned down in your own zone and being able to get into the offensive zone with an opportunity to score. You get to the 2-minute warning here in the second quarter. But, man, Kirby Voorhees getting redemption after a couple messed up running plays to finally get the Cougs in an opportunity to possibly score before the half gets over.
Yeah. Voorhees with his 8th carry of the night, averaging about 6.3 yards a play and 50 yards on the day. So as the Cougs take a quick timeout, so will we. Thank you for listening to KUGR Radio, the student voice of the Palouse. Back at Giza, Cougs lead San Diego State 10-7 with 2 minutes left to play here in the first half of the second home game of the season. Just coming out of the 2-minute timeout. Potter with a man in the backfield. That's going to be running back Angel Johnson, stacked right behind him. Patient there on the snap. Immediately to Johnson, and he'll scramble around the line. And a flag is on the field. We'll see what they call there. Might have been a late hit on Angel Johnson. Pickup of about 4 or 5 yards. We'll see the replay here. It looks like it might have been possibly even a targeting call. See if he's dropped that shoulder enough.
I think the refs were running down of flags there when they were throwing down the field. I mean, as soon as he got hit, it was just a flurry of those yellow flags.
It's going to be holding on number 83 on the offense for Washington State. It's going to be Ademola Fulwiler, his second huge penalty of the night. His first one being a 15-yard deficit for Washington State. This one being a 10-yard penalty. It's going to put Washington State at the 45-yard line. Replay first down. Potter and Johnson in the backfield. He looks right for an open receiver. Oh, and it's just batted out of the hands there. Intended for receiver number 8, Brandon Ganashamorthy, with his third drive of the game.
Man, Jackson Potter's had quite a few passes that have just not been nearly on target. He's trying to find his receivers. Again, it's probably going back to the fact that he's getting pressured pretty intensely from that defensive line for the Aztecs. He's having to kind of get that throw out pretty quick. He doesn't have enough time to be able to set up that play. So he's kind of airmailing it, kind of going off to the side, but he's got to be able to adjust here. He's got second and 20.
Leighton Smithson in now for receiver Tony Freeman. Potter hands it immediately off there. It's going to be to Leo Pulalasi. Again, another running back in for Washington State. That's going to be a 30-second timeout for the Aztecs. Minute 37 left to play. It's going to be 3rd and 18 for WSU. Run game is not working out the way they want it to there. I think after an explosive run like they just had, Rogers, might have thought, hey, let's run another one of those right now that we're getting into the touchdown territory. But just not going the way they want. 3rd and 18, a minute 37 left to play. Teams will break now, trot back out onto the field.
Yeah, the Cougs have quite a few weapons to the running back room. You have Angel Johnson, you have Kirby Voorhees, you have Pulas, you have even Maxwell Woods if you have to lean on him. But I mean, definitely if you're ranking these running backs in terms of efficiency and impact so far, you got to go Kirby Voorhees. As good as Angel Johnson has been so far this game, better than he was last week, Kirby Voorhees has just been explosive, having some big run plays. And they're going to go with Pulasi out there again, even though he only picked up 2 yards on that play. But we'll see if they go to the air maybe on this play. It's 3rd and 18, quite a ways to go to get that first down.
Yeah, Pulalasi with only his second carry of the night. In the backfield with Potter. Potter takes a snap, looks downfield, and he'll rush, runs away from them, and he'll slide out down to the San Diego 35-yard line. And that'll be good. I don't know if it's enough for a first down. We'll have to see. It's going to be a replay here. Minute 27 left to play.
Yeah, Jackson Potter just trying to do his best to get them closer and closer maybe to field goal range to see if Jack Stevens can't quite maybe get a boot up, make it 13-7 potentially there. I mean, a little short of the first down, 4th and 13. So we'll see. You got a minute 30 seconds left. So they just they want to salvage this drive a little bit, and salvaging it right now is see if you like Jackson Potter did right there, just gain a couple extra yards, make it a little bit of an easier kick for Jack Stevens. He was able to drill a pretty far kick earlier in the game to make it 10-7. But we'll see if he doesn't hit this one here and maybe make it 13-7.
San Diego taking their last 30-second timeout of the half. And as you said, 4th and 13, excuse me. I had not seen the sticks. I had thought that was the opposite one. But again, Washington State, looks like the kicking team's going to trot out there.
Stevens, we mentioned it before, has been very electric. And he's been very good at being able to hit these kicks. So we'll see what they do. Looks like they're not going to go for the field goal. Looks like they're going to have to try and pin the Aztecs down on their own 5-yard line.
Going to punt it there from the 39-yard line. WSU shifts off to the right. Long snap. Loopy kick there. And it'll be called a fair catch at the San Diego State 11-yard line.
There's a flag on the play.
Flag on the play there. We'll see. They threw pretty early, right around when Harris was going to kick it. So, I mean, we'll see what they call here exactly, but it's either going to be in favor of the Aztecs or it might even push them back a little bit.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. More than 4 players in the backfield at the snap.
They're going to call that an illegal formation on WSU. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Now Washington State is starting to rack up those flags. That's going to be the 5th one of the game. Yep. 5-yard penalty accepted at the 38-yard line. That'll back them up there to the 43. And they will try this again. Ryan Harris, again, will take the long snap.
A lot of motion there in the line. They're trying to set things up.
Yeah, Washington State shifting right. Naked backfield. Harris. Loopy punt. And San Diego will wave that a fair catch at their 8-yard line. So it worked out in favor a little bit.
Absolutely.
By about 3 yards.
Jordan Napier there. He had about 5 Cougs almost in a circle. I mean, it was a mile, not quite a mile high punt, but he was in the air for quite a bit. So Napier had a lot of time to get underneath it. But that means that the Cougs had quite a bit of time to get down there and get around him. About 5 Cougs almost around him. So it's a smart play there from Napier. Get the fair catch. Don't get trucked. Don't get hurt. They're going to need him here. But that pins the Aztecs down, behind their own 10-yard line. They only got 1:16 left. And it's a 10-7 game. Cougs leading, but they still, with Denigal's arm, he's able to heap some passes up. So we'll see if maybe they somehow connect for a touchdown here with a minute left.
Denigal for San Diego State. Alone in the backfield. Takes the snap. Looks downfield. He'll look left all the way down the middle. Oh, and the ball is lost. Intended for wide receiver Jacob Bostic. Kind of bobbled out of his hands. In dangerous territory around 4 defensive backs for the Cougs, but ball is called dead, and that'll be 2nd and 10. 1 minute and 11 seconds left to play. Cougs still lead 10-7.
Denigal's really been trying to find Bostic downfield, but I mean, threw into almost triple coverage there. I mean, Bostic wasn't worried about it being intercepted, but I mean, Matthew Durrance was the guy in there really able to break up that pass.
Motion in the backfield. Bostic trotting over to the right sideline. Denigal, patient, takes a snap. Play action, sacked in the end zone. And that's a safety. 2 more points on the board for Washington State.
That was absolutely electric. That is the momentum shifter the Cougs were looking for. I mean, after that pass breakup from Matthew Durrance, now the Aztecs, they still need to go to the air. They're still too far out to be able to get a running play here. They're running out of time. They only had a minute left, and they get the safety there to make it 12-7. I mean, this defense for the Cougs has been just absolutely smothering the Aztecs after that initial touchdown, and they just did it again. So now the Cougs are going to have an opportunity to get the ball back and see if they can't maybe even widen the gap a little bit more before the end of this half.
Redshirt freshman on the sack, Karsten Reynolds, an elementary education major from Cedro Woolley, Washington native. And he came here after a season at South Dakota State, so back to his roots. Huge play for Washington State.
If you're the Aztecs, that is not what you were hoping for whatsoever. And you could see Denigal, when he saw that pressure coming immediately, he was shook. He was not expecting that the defender to be able to come up that quickly, to be able to knock him down. I mean, it's just things with the Aztecs. Ever since they were able to pick up that scoring drive on their second drive of the game to pick up those 7 points. But ever since then, it's been all Cougs all day when they've been on the field.
And again, special teams will trot out for San Diego State. Hunter Green, the punter on the field, 6'4" junior, here to kick away the ball to a hungry Cougar team. Hype after that safety. And off it goes. No fair catch called. Freeman again in the backfield. He'll take it to the 30. the 35 and all the way down to the 38-yard line, putting Cougs in great scoring position. 59 seconds left to play. Score now 12-7. Cougs lead by 5. And with just a minute left until halftime.
That was electric there. Number 10, Leighton Smithson, able to return that. I mean, that's the kind of return you're looking for with only a minute left, and you just picked up that safety. The momentum swinging back your way. You're going to get the ball back. You get a return like that that puts you on about the 38-yard line in your own zone. I mean, this is what the Cougs are looking for. They can put something together here, and if Potter gets a couple quick passes here, they could potentially get a scoring drive here to close out the half.
Potter running back in the backfield. He looks downfield. Whoa! And it's caught by Josh Meredith. Stiff arm breaks the tackle. And he'll be pushed out of bounds at about the 25-yard line.
Josh Meredith, I was unfamiliar with your game. He reeled in that catch. It looked like it was going to go over his head, brought it in and stayed on his feet. Like you said, the stiff arm, that got me excited there. He just shoves the arm in his face, pushes the defender off him. He's not able to bring it in for the touchdown, but, man, he puts him within striking distance, and this is what the Cougs need, a quick drive.
And I apologize to any listeners with earphones. I might have gotten a little excited as well. Potter hands it off, and again, another huge running drive for the Cougs. That's going to be Leo Pulalasi, the backup running back for Washington State. That's going to take it all the way down to the San Diego State 9-yard line. Cougs now in the red zone. 35 seconds left to play. Potter, wide right, Meredith tries to get into the end zone there, just short. About 2nd and 3. 30 seconds left to play. Clock stops.
Yeah, Meredith looking for a second touchdown on the year. Tried to put the stiff arm there again, but just doesn't quite get enough of a gain there. I mean, it's going to be 2nd and 3 with 30 seconds left. I mean, this is the drive the Cougs are looking for, and this crowd is showing as much life as they've shown all night tonight with the back-to-back great plays from Josh Meredith and then Leo Pulalasi. Life is returning back to this crowd. They were kind of put to sleep for most of this game. They were able to get that touchdown from Trey Lechner, but since then, it's been pretty quiet. So this crowd really getting back into it now as they got 2nd and 3 with 30 seconds left in a 12-7 game. The Cougs trying to make it 19-7 as they head into half.
Yeah, and that was Pulalasi's only his 3rd carry of the night, putting him in about 8.7 yards per carry. And, they're starting to break out a little bit. I like how Washington State's utilizing every single one of their running backs. You don't look too much into those backup guys, but they've used all 4 just in this quarter alone. All right, we've got Jackson Potter. 2 men in the backfield. Pulalasi right behind him. Patient with the snap. Potter looks right. And a touchdown! Tight end, number 23, Trey Lechner, his 2nd touchdown of the game, responsible for both touchdown receptions for the Cougars this evening. 18-7 with 26 seconds left before half.
If you had told me at the start of this game that Trey Lechner was going to have 2 touchdowns for the Cougs, I would not have believed you. Trey Lechner is a bit of a sleeper on this team, and he's already gotten 2 touchdowns. Most likely that's why he's gotten those 2 touchdowns. I don't think the Aztecs were expecting him to be that much of an impact guy.
Cougs for the extra point, and the extra point is good. Cougs now 19-7, just mere seconds before halftime. And yeah, Smith, tell me what you saw on that scoring drive for Washington State. What made it a scoring drive?
Well, let me tell you, Norma, that scoring drive was put together by some quick hustle offense. They were able to get some immediately. They were getting set up. They were getting ready to be able to get those plays started. They get a quick pass to Josh Meredith. They had breaks away, like you said. He put the stuff on the defender, able to get them in within scoring position. Get a handoff there to Leo Pulalasi to get even closer. I mean, it was just hustle offense. They caught the Aztecs off guard with that drive. I mean, 26 seconds left. I mean, of course, the Aztecs could possibly put something together here. I mean, the Cougs did it in about 30 seconds. We'll see if maybe the Aztecs can, but so far it's looking all things Cougs coming into the waning stages of this first half.
Absolutely. Harris again, looking to kick it off to San Diego State, see what they can do with 20 seconds left time. And they are off. Bullet of a kick. It'll make its way into the end zone. Puts the Aztecs at their own 25-yard line. And this Cougar defense is hyped up, trotting onto the field.
So far, they've done a really good job after that initial scoring drive where the Aztecs were able to pick up that touchdown. They've done such a good job putting the clamps on this Aztec offense. Denegal has had nowhere to go, whether it's trying to pass it, whether they're trying to run it. It's just been a brick wall of Cougs, and we'll see maybe time's ticking if you can get something going, maybe.
Jaden Denegal hands it off. They'll barrel their way down there for a few yards, gain of about 6.
Lucky Sutton,
That's going to be Lucky Sutton with the carry.
And again, he's picked up about 5, looks almost about 5.5 yards-ish. I mean, it's almost comical how consistent he's been, about 5 yards per carry.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that keeps up, but I mean, defense for the Cougs just trying to do their best.
And that will bring us to halftime. Run play winds the clock out for San Diego State. We'll send it to our sideline reporter, Abby Barrickston, down on the field. Abby, you're on.
Thanks, Norma. Thanks, Smith. It is absolutely electric down here. It's kind of starting to hit the pre-halftime lull, and then that safety and that conversion brought everybody back into it. Energy's crazy. A couple minutes ago, I was able to overhear some of the offensive line in a huddle and telling them in the moment, and you can really tell that they did that. And for a lot of these, really their first true home game, with it being 99% Cougs in this last week, being in Idaho, having all the Idaho fans. So offensive was preaching, living in the moment, and they absolutely went out on the field and did that going. So great energy, student section, everyone stayed all the way to the end. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Abby. And with halftime, we will take a short break to go enjoy the WSU Marching Band halftime show. Thank you for listening to KUGR Radio, the voice of the Palouse. We will be back with the second half of football momentarily.
19-7. The Cougs lead it as we head into the second half of play here at Giesa Field. This SDSU Aztec put up that initial touchdown, but ran into a brick wall. That defense, as they are unable to put up any more in that first half, and the Cougs pick up a crucial 2 touchdowns off of Trey Lechner as they soar to a 19-7 lead. Slye joined by Norma Fulwiler up in the booth at Giesa Field. Norma, how are we feeling heading into the second half of play in week 2 of college football?
Yeah, this is really a game of numbers. The numbers are really talking this game. Again, 19-7, Cougs up by 12. So, and this is a game of comparison. In terms of passing yards, Wazoo's 148 to San Diego's 68. Rushing yards, 113 to 40. And about San Diego's inability to, go on third down. 0 for 7 on third down conversions compared to Washington State. It's 20%. I remember those two that, they were returns that ended up being scoring drives, touchdown drives, field goal drives. So, again, I just really think the numbers are speaking for themselves this game. I don't really have anything left to say except that I think Wazoo defense is playing phenomenally. Though San Diego State has 48 tackles on the day compared to Wazoo's 23, I think they've done more with less, and they've had 12 yards and tackle for loss compared to San Diego State's 4.
Yeah, number 88 on defense, Terrell for the Cougs picked up a safety late in that first half to be able to make it initially 12-7. And then, of course, Trey Lechner got on the board to get his second touchdown of the night. And I mentioned it before in the first half, Trey Lechner was not on my radar to be picking up a touchdown at all in this game, and he has too. They've been going to Lechner, a bit of this sneaky guy. I don't think the Aztecs were expecting him to get the ball as much, and yet he has. He's able to pick up those 2 touchdowns, get the Cougs pull ahead here as we're getting set for kickoff here. The Cougs receiving the ball. The Cougs wearing their all crimson uniforms with the white helmets as the Aztecs wind up and kick it off. Here are underway here in the second half. The Cougs will watch the ball go back into the end zone for a touchback. And the second half is underway here at Giesa Field.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if that momentum that kind of carried Zoo into halftime will continue. Huge safety, sack in the end zone. I was saying this during the break. I love safeties because it's a sack with 2 points attached to it. Talk about hyping up a defense, hyping up a sideline, and hyping up a head coach.
So it'll be Jackson out to the field as the QB for the Cougs yet again as we head into the second half. So far, it has been mainly Potter. Duggar came in for 2 plays. So he gets set to kick things off here in the second half. He's got Angel Johnson behind him. Tony Freeman in motion. Here's the snap. Quick pass over to Freeman. He reels it in. He dives past the defender. He's got room to run. He'll be pushed out of bounds, but he'll pick up the first down. Tony Freeman, way to start the half.
Potter with his 28th passing attempt of the night, making it 19 for 28. Passing percentage of around 68%.
And that's another.
Nice quick pass out of the gate. That's what we saw working for WSU as they crept closer to the red zone. Happy to see that right out of the gate.
Freeman put up 64 yards last weekend, and he's on pace for the same here today. Potter with 2 running backs, Pualasi, Voorhees on his either side. He'll fake the handoff, drop back. He's got room to pass. He'll hand it off to Pualasi, who will put on a stiff arm, break off the defender. He'll pick up a couple yards, 5, 6, and he's finally brought down. Pualasi, who got the fake handoff. Potter goes to him for the pass. Was almost brought down, had his jersey ripped by a defender trying to bring him down, but still gets about 5, 6 yards and sets him up for a good second down here with 14 minutes exactly left on the clock in the third quarter.
Pualasi's thread still kind of laying bare there over by the Cougar sideline, just that streak of sad red.
Jackson Potter with Angel Johnson to his left. Sets a man in motion. Here's the snap. Handed off to Angel Johnson. Trying to find a gap. He finds it. Breaks through for the first down. He's finally brought down, though. Just barely moves the chain, and it's another first down for the Cougs. Back-to-back first down conversions. And the Cougs cooking something here to start out this second half.
Yeah, and this is that run-pass option, offensive scheme that Jimmy Rogers has been talking about all season, trying to utilize. We watched him set a man in motion, fake the handoff, then hands it off to Angel Johnson, puts it in for 10 yards.
Potter with Angel Johnson in his back pocket. Sets Meredith in motion, coming towards him. Here's the snap. Fakes the handoff to Johnson. Drops back. Try and find someone downfield. He'll finally get a pass off here to Trey Lechner, who gets brought down, but not before. He picks up about 4 yards on the play. Brought down right at the Cougar logo. And they'll spot it at the 50-yard line. The Cougs perfectly balanced here as they try to break into Aztec territory. 2nd and 6 with 12 minutes, 40 seconds left.
Tano Latuli on the tackle, his 6th of the night.
19-7, the Cougs lead it. Jackson Potter showing great strides since last weekend, putting together a couple scoring drives. Angel Johnson on his right side. Sets a man in motion. Here's the snap. Gets a throw to Angel Johnson. He's got him for a first down and some more. He stays on his feet. 2 Aztecs, 3 Aztecs. They try and bring him down, and they finally do at the 18-yard line in Aztecs territory. Angel Johnson, what a game.
And it takes 3 defenders to finally bring down the running back on a pass play almost 20 yards downfield.
What an interesting play call there. Jackson Potter had Angel Johnson behind him. Didn't quite fake the handoff to him, but he has Angel Johnson run up the gut a little bit there, get into the open space. No one was expecting a pass Angel Johnson. It ends up working out for him. It's now Jackson Potter. He's got Smithson and another receiver on his right side with Angel Johnson behind him. Sets the man in motion. Here's the snap. Fakes the handoff. Drops back. He's got room to pass. He gets it to number 12 for the Cougs. He tries to put a stiff on him. He stays on his feet, and he'll be brought down near side for a gain of about 2. What a catch there by Leon Neal Jr., one of the backup wide receivers. Again, we keep talking about these wide receivers that keep getting brought in. That's from some of his first action tonight.
Yep. It's going to be his first snap of the season, not playing last week at all against University of Idaho at home here at Giza.
2nd and 9. Cougs leading 19-7. 11 minutes left. Potter with Pualasi to his right. Taking time here. Long hold. Here's the snap. Fakes the handoff to Pualasi. He's got 2 receivers. He gets it there to Leo Jr. Touchdown! Cougs! Leo Neal Jr., his 2nd catch of the game, and it's a touchdown. The Cougars pull away 25-7.
And talk about, that is the quickest scoring drive I have seen. And, you know, that clock was running almost the entire time. They managed to run from their own 25 all the way and march downfield in just 4 minutes on run plays. Talk about an awesome way to start out this second half of football.
Leo Neal Jr., yet another name that I was not expecting to get on the score sheet. First was Trey Lechner, and now number 12, Leo Neal Jr., as Jack Stevens hits the extra point and makes this a 26-7 game. The Aztecs didn't know what hit them as Jackson Potter leads these Cougs downfield and proves why he's the starting quarterback coming into this year.
And, you know, something that's really exciting that I'm starting to notice about this Washington State offense is the depth that we have. Leo Pualasi, huge drives he's had. He's the 4th-string running back for Washington State. He's behind Maxwell Woods, Kirby Voorhees, and Angel Johnson, who have all had fantastic performances tonight. Not to mention Leon Neal Jr., who just scored a touchdown. He's the 3rd-string wide receiver. So, I mean, talk about depth, talk about, you know, having all your guys at the same level. That's something really exciting that I want to watch unfold when we go away against North Texas next week. Away, home for the Apple Cup against rival University of Washington the week after. So these are things that really hype you up, not only as a sports fan, but as a Cougar fan.
Absolutely. Looking ahead for the schedule for the Cougs, as you mentioned, they will next week go play against at North Texas, then come home for the Apple Cup against the University of Washington, then go back on the road to Colorado State and stay on the road for Ole Miss, a team that the Cougs are a little nervous to go play against, a very, very competent college football program. They'll stay on the road, go against Virginia, come back home for Toledo, go on the road for Oregon State, who they played twice this year, and then come back home, Louisiana Tech, go on the road for James Madison, and close out the season at home versus Oregon State, the Pac-2 rival for the Cougs. Of course, the Pac-12 getting a facelift heading into 2026. Plenty of new teams. In fact, I believe the San Diego State University Aztecs will be a member of that new Pac-12 as well. So a future conference rival,
Yeah.
Cougs playing against tonight, as there are 10 minutes, 55 seconds left on the clock. 26-7, Cougars leading it after that first scoring drive. And you see, when you go back to the start of this game, the Aztecs got on the board first. They picked up that first touchdown, made it 7-0. And if you will go back to that point, you were probably thinking this was going to be an Aztec victory. But now you flash forward to the start of this second half, and now the Aztecs looking down the barrel of a 26-7 Cougar lead. Of course, still plenty of time for the Aztecs to maybe claw their way back into it. But nonetheless, the Cougs have just been giving them nothing with their defense shutting them down.
I mean, yeah, being up 19 is no small feat. Again, we were talking about this earlier, the difference between a 1 and a 2 possession game. Now it's a 3 possession game. And as San Diego State, you're away the first time they've ever played in Giesa Field. San Diego State, as a franchise, has never been up to Pullman. You know, we thought Jaden Denegal, starting quarterback, you know, maybe he wouldn't feel the effects of that playing for Michigan for 3 seasons. But I guess home field advantage has really made a name for itself today here in Pullman.
The crowd here in Giesa Field has been electric, especially after those scoring drives, and especially after those defensive stops as well. Defense has been a standout. And we mentioned it before, defense usually isn't who you're looking for as your standout guys. But so far tonight, the defense has done so much to keep the Cougs in this game, as the punter, Ryan Harris for the Cougs, lines up his kick, as the Aztecs will try and respond here. Harris lifts the arm, winds, and kicks downfield. Long kick past the end zone. It'll be a touchback, and the Aztecs will find themselves on the 25-yard line with an opportunity to maybe answer back.
Yeah, and, you know, I had said this before the break. How much can we really expect from this San Diego State offense? You know, I did have high hopes when we were comparing the 2 games that Washington State and San Diego State had played the week before, both playing FCS opponents, but the difference in scoring was so substantial. I really thought they'd be able to put up more on offense than they have.
Jaden Denegal out again for the Aztecs. Here's the snap, hands it off to Lucky Sutton, runs up the gut, runs into some Cougs, but he stays on his feet for a gain of about 7 to 8 yards. Lucky Sutton, one of the longer rushes we've seen so far from him tonight. We keep talking about how reliable he's been as he runs right up the gut on that play. And the Aztecs back immediately, hustle offense. Trying to draw the Cougs off sides there, Jaden Denegal with the double count. And now he'll call an audible, set up his offense. Get himself set back up again. Long hold, here's the snap. Hand off to Lucky Sutton. No, Jaden Denegal takes it. Tries to get it past to Jordan Napier into double coverage. No good. Jaden Denegal really sold the fake handoff there and tried to get it past to Jordan Napier. Just didn't quite connect.
Third string safety for Wazoo, Kyle Peterson there on defense. A little surprised there wasn't pass interference called on that play. Wrapped his arms all the way around his shoulders. But, you know, pass interference is a judgment call, and I'm not mad about it.
Absolutely. There have been quite a few plays so far tonight that could have possibly been pass interference. Again, we've mentioned before, it's college football referees, so not always the most clear eyes out there getting the best calls. As Jaden Denegal has Lucky Sutton behind him in the backfield. Here's the snap. Hands it off to Sutton. Up the gut. He's got room to run. He breaks through, and he's finally brought down by Matthew Durns, but they move the chains, and the Aztecs continue their march upfield.
Yeah, Lucky Sutton there, 43 yards on the night, averaging about 4.8 yards per carry. Talk about consistency. Before the break, he was seven attempts, 35 yards, and it looks like we have an injury on the field for San Diego State.
Center number 63, Ross Masuli for the Aztecs. Really shaking up on that play. Looks like it might be his left ankle. As he falls back down to his knees. Tried to get up, tried to walk off on his own power, and just couldn't quite get off the field, as both teams will call their own huddles as they pause the game here.
Looks like it might have just been rolled ankle or something of that. Experienced player, Masuli Sr. from San Diego, California, 6'4", 335 pounds. So player like that, when they go down, you know, there might be a rolled ankle or something of that caliber.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth.
The Cougs lead at 26-7 here in the third quarter. 9 minutes, 58 seconds left. So about 10 minutes left here in the third quarter as the Aztecs are trying to put together a response drive to that first drive by the Cougs, which ended in a Leon Neal Jr. touchdown. as Masuli is still on the ground. This is going to take a while. We will take a break. You're listening to Cougar Football on KUGR. We'll be right back. Please don't go away. Ross Masuli exits the field with a right ankle injury, courtesy of our sideline reporter, Abby, as the Aztecs get set now. 1st and 10. After that monster hard-nosed run from Lucky Sutton set up the first down, still Jaden Denegal, QB for the Aztecs. Gets the snap, hands it off to Sutton, who's going to run up the gut, and he's finally brought down for a gain of about 2. Lucky Sutton.
Parker McKenna there on the tackle.
2nd and 8 now for the Aztecs. 9 minutes, 35 seconds and counting. 26-7. Cougs still leading. It's the Aztecs take their time here. As they bring in running back Christian Washington, subbing in for Lucky Sutton. Off to the left of Denegal. Sets in motion, gets to the right of Denegal now. Now he moves in behind him. They keep moving Christian Washington around. Napier in motion. Here's the snap. Hand off to Washington. Runs off to the left side. He's got room to run, but he runs into some Cougs at the Cougar logo. They'll fight for massive bodies. Finally, he's stopped based off forward progress and gets to about the 50-yard line.
Yeah. Caleb Francel, a real key defensive player last week against University of Idaho for Washington State with the tackle.
3rd and 3 for the Aztecs. This student section getting loud, trying to interrupt the snap count for the Aztecs. Denegal sets Washington in motion. Off to his right. Here's the snap. Hands it off to no. Denegal's going to take it himself. He's going to try and get it. He's stopped. He's stopped. He's not going to get it. The Cougar defense pins him down at the logo, and the chains will not move.
Looks like there might have been a miscommunication there. Denegal fakes the handoff to his running back and then runs into his own offensive line and gets just stuffed up the middle by Cougs hungry for a stop.
Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, it was Burt Emanuel Jr. who subbed in for Denegal on that play, the more of a rushing quarterback there for the Cougs as Denegal subs back in. And looks like they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Denegal most likely going to the air with his running back off to the left. Here's the snap. Takes the handoff to Washington. Drops back, looking for his receivers. He's going to wheel out to his right. Gets the throw across to his man. No, it's wide. Incomplete. Denegal can't get it.
Yeah, and we've been talking all game, again, about those 3rd down conversions for San Diego State. That's going to be 1 for 9 on the night. for the Aztecs. And we've seen this from both quarterbacks, a little more from Potter, but just throwing those routes outside just a little too far out into the sideline, or just way overthrowing it over their receivers' heads.
Bit of a misinformed throw there from Jane Denigal. He had room to run. He had plenty of green out in front, could have scrambled for the first down. He only had to pick up about 3 yards, but instead tried to target number 15, Jackson Ford, the tight end, and just couldn't quite connect on it. And now the ball is turned over here for the Cougs with Jackson Potter at about the 49-yard line. He's got Angel Johnson to his left. Potter sets a man in motion. Here's the snap. Hands off to Angel Johnson, trying to go up the middle. Had a gap, but it's closed by the Aztecs as he's brought down for a gain of about 3. Angel Johnson trying to have a better night than last week where he put up -4 yards. And so far, he's smashed that quota.
Yeah, Angel Johnson now climbing up the ranks for one of the top rushers of the evening, just shadowed by Voorhees with that breakout scoring drive run, trailing behind him at 30 yards and 5 carries.
Jackson Potter has Pulasi, running back, right behind him. 2 receivers to his left. Meredith on his right. Sets Voorhees in motion. Here's the snap. Fakes the handoff to Pulasi. Drops back. Got plenty of time to throw. Here it is to Josh Meredith. Completes to the 25-yard line. Josh Meredith reels it in.
Josh Meredith, and I can just tell this is going to be an explosive season for him. Last week against Idaho, that was only the 5th touchdown of his career. And now, I can just really see him being such a key receiver for this Washington State offense.
Voorhees and Pulasi head off to the sideline as Jackson Potter brings in the team for a huddle. They've got time, 6 minutes, 30 seconds here as they break. Within distance for a field goal, but they want more. Jackson Potter sets Freeman in motion. He's got Angel Johnson to his right. Here's the snap. Fakes the throw to Freeman. Drops back, throws, down, trying to find Meredith, and he's bullied out of the way by the cornerback, Bryce Phillips, for the Aztecs, and he's unable to make that catch. Sets up 2nd and 10 now for the Cougs at the 25-yard line.
Bit of a weird decision there from Potter, and looks like they're going to sub in Duggar, the 2nd-string quarterback transfer from Pittsburgh. Kind of an odd decision. Tony Freeman wide open on his right and looked for Meredith downfield, but he was just way up in coverage, just nowhere to go. Yeah, just kind of an interesting play call there, but let's see what Duggar does here on the 25-yard line.
Duggar with 3 receivers to his right, 1 to his left, nobody in the backfield. Here's the snap. He's going to take it himself. He's going to try and run off to the left. He tries to break the tackle, but he's brought down for no gain.
Dragged by the collar shirt all the way down onto his back.
Julian Duggar, 6'3", 208 pounds. The redshirt freshman, he'll be subbed out for Jackson Potter. So it just seems the Cougs were looking for a QB sneak there and it didn't work. So they're going to have to go back to Jackson Potter, the 6'5", 205-pound redshirt sophomore, the longest tenured Coug in this quarterback room. Been here for 3 years, as opposed to 2 for Zevi Eckhouse and only 1 for Julian Duggar. Potter with Pulasi to his left. Sets Freeman off to the right. Here's the snap. Takes the throw. Drays off to his right. Puts up a floater. Trying to find number 15. Jeremiah Noga. Can't find him. Incomplete. Sets up 3rd and 9.
Yeah, and again, that's just, possibly like trying to set up those routes, but his receivers were just really caught up in defense. That's cornerback 23, Isaiah Buxton, that was giving his receivers just nowhere to go. Great coverage on San Diego State.
Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen, it is 4th and 9, and they will bring out Jack Stevens to try and nail this field goal here to make this a 29-7 game. Here's the snap. The kick from Stevens. Is it what? Is it good? Yes, sir. He drills it. Stevens, his 2nd of the night, makes this a 29-7 game. Cougs leading with 5 minutes, 20 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. A drive that could have ended in a touchdown, but stalled out after that Julian Duggar failed QB sneak. But they'll settle for the field goal, 29-7. Cougs still leading. As we head to a break, we will be right back. You're listening to Cougar Football here live on YouTube. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Jack Stevens nails the field goal for the Cougs to make this 29-7 in favor of the Cougs. 5 minutes, 20 seconds left here in the third quarter. And we have an update from our sideline reporter, Abby Bergson. Abby, what do you got for us?
Abby, you got any report from the sideline? Anything interesting you're seeing down there? Looks like no report there from Abby Bergson, our sideline reporter. Probably caught up in something super interesting. So we'll head back up to the press box.
Cougs getting ready to kick off here. Punter Ryan Harris getting set to kick it back to the Aztecs as they trail the Cougs 29-7 here in the third quarter. So far, everything has been going the Cougs' way in the start of this second half. Able to get that initial scoring drive to pick up that touchdown from Neal Jr. And although that second drive wasn't quite a touchdown, still able to settle for the field goal and continue to widen the gap. As Ryan Harris sets up the kick, gets his men situated on the line, raises the arm, winds up, and the kick. Downfield, Napier watches it go into the end zone for a touchback. And yet again, the Aztecs will be set up on the 25-yard line.
Yeah, and if I'm, head coach Sean Lewis, right now, this is a crucial time for me to score a touchdown. 29-14 versus 29 to single digits. I feel like not only is, obviously that's a difference in numerical score, but that's just a difference in morale. Going on the road into a place that you've never been and only scoring 7 points. I mean, that's a morale kicker after an insane blowout. Their first game that they've had, 42-0 against Stony Brook last week.
Denegal sets a man in motion. Here's the snap. Takes the hand up to Lucky Sutton. Wheels out to his right. Tries to get a pass to Jacob Bostick, but just leaves it about as short as you possibly could. Almost skipped it into the arms of Bostick. Incompletes. And so far, Denegal has been struggling to complete his passes to his receivers.
Flag is down on the field.
We'll see what the referees call for this.
Looks pretty straightforward, discussing with Rogers right now.
An eligible player downfield, number 71, offense, 5-yard penalty, replay first down.
So the right guard, number 71, Bayo Kaneki, for the Aztecs. Downfield, illegally. Moves it back, 1st and 15 for the Aztecs. Makes it their road a little harder. As it's still Jaden Denegal out with Lucky Sutton to his right. His left, pardon me. Here's the snap. Drops back. Looks for his man. Hits Napier right down the middle. But he runs into 3, 4, 5 Cougs who drag him down. It'll be a gain of about 7 to 8. But still, sets up second down here for the Aztecs.
Yeah, 2nd and 6. This is in a pretty good position for them to get a first down. We talked about them not being able to turn those things into first downs, but that doesn't say anything about them not getting it on second down. So they're in good scoring position for Lucky Sutton to drive it in for another 4, 5, 6 yards.
We'll see if Denegal can convert here. Sets Napier in motion. Handoff. No, he fakes it. Denegal will take it himself. Run up the middle. He's got room to run, but he's finally brought down. Colby Humphrey, the cornerback, takes out the legs of Denegal, but not before he moved the change. You mentioned it before. They can convert on second down, but they can't quite get it on the third.
Yeah, it's not in my stat book. It must be that Cougar student section that they had talked so highly about down in San Diego last week.
SDSU's offense trying to sort things out here. Denegal communicating with his line. Gets it set up. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. He'll bring Napier in on the line. He'll be blocking. Here's the snap. Handoff to Lucky Sutton, who tries to break to the left side, but runs into the defensive line for the Cougs and is brought down, and he gets the first down.
Yeah, and that's Anthony Polano, defensive back for Washington State. A little frustrated there. I think he thought he had it. Just not quite. Good stuff there. A lot of Cougs running them right up the middle.
Hustle offense. Denegal gets the snap, fakes the handoff, drops back, room to throw. Here it is. Napier wide open as he falls to the ground just past the 38-yard line in Cougar territory. What a great dart from Denegal right into the arms of Napier. And now the Aztecs on the doorstep of possibly getting their second touchdown of the night.
Jordan Napier finally getting utilized, just his second reception.
The snap to Denegal, fakes the handoff, quick throw, and it's knocked down, batted away. Denegal ran into a brick wall.
It's going to be defensive end Isaac Terrell with the bat down for the Cougar defense. But that ball live and on the ground, up for a pick. Excuse me, not a pick, a fumble.
Isaac Terrell got the safety earlier in the game and gets a critical block there to set up 2nd and 10.
Charge about to have Washington State.
As Washington State will take a 30-second timeout here. But what a great, going back to that pass from Denegal to Napier to put the Aztecs on about the 39-yard line in Cougar territory. And then, of course, a great stop there from Isaac Terrell, getting his arm in the way of the pass to knock it down. But still, 2nd and 10 in Cougar territory. The Aztecs have an opportunity here to break through for the first time since that initial touchdown.
Yeah, Napier now leading San Diego State with receiving yards with 49 yards on the night. Now their top receiver, I'm curious to see how much more they feed him going towards the end zone.
So the Denegal still out to play. The Aztecs have not really leaned on Bert Emanuel Jr., their backup quarterback, very much so far this game. He's come in for a couple rushing plays, but whenever he's tried to rush, he's been shut down by this defensive line for the Cougs. So they're going to lean on Jaden Denegal and his arm as he sets his receiver in motion to come into the line to block. Lucky Sutton to his right. Here's the snap. Handoff to Lucky Sutton, who tries to run up the middle. He's got room to run. He's still on his feet, but he's finally brought down. He'll move the chains, but he's brought down at the Pac-12 logo at about the 25-yard line. And the Aztecs, first down after first down, they just keep moving.
Caleb Frankel pointed out early by the San Diego State offense, unable to get the sack.
Hurry up offense here for the Aztecs. Denegal. Here's the snap. Takes the handoff and pitches it back to number 14 for the Aztecs. He's got room to run, and he runs into a brick wall. A gain of about 5.
Yeah, and on defense there with the absolute manhandle of a tackle is Jack Ellison, his first solo tackle of the night.
Donovan Brown, the receiver who was set in motion, takes the handoff from Denegal, but just ran into a brick wall of Cougar defenders. Sets up 2nd and 6, 2 minutes in counting in this quarter. Denegal communicates with his line, backs up. Lucky Sutton to his left, sets his receiver Bostic in motion, runs past him. Here's the snap. Takes the handoff to Lucky Sutton, wheels out to his left. Pass. He finds Napier. He stays on his feet, and he's finally brought down within the 10-yard line. He moves the chains. The Aztecs are knocking on the door.
San Diego State, for the first time all night, on 1st and goal, finally in scoring position after that 54-yard touchdown pass early in the first quarter.
So they will stay with Jaden Denegal as the QB, will not go to Bert Emanuel Jr. for a rushing option play. So we'll see if they maybe target some of those wide receivers, maybe a tight end for a play here. He's got Lucky Sutton behind him, lined up directly behind him in the backfield. 1st and 6, here's the snap. Handoff to Lucky Sutton, tries to run up the middle. He breaks 3, he stays on his feet, but he's brought down at the 2-yard line. Could have stayed on his feet, but he was brought down there by number 28 for the Cougs.
He was almost there. I thought he was going to pummel that in, but kind of fell head first and landed right on his helmet. Just 1 minute left to play. Clock still running.
1 yard to go. The tush push. Can they get it? They push through. The refs come together. What's the official signal? And they'll say it's a touchdown. The tush push works as Jaden Denegal is pushed forward into the end zone. Makes this a 29-13 game. Wazoo still leading, but Jaden Denegal puts his body on the line and gets the Aztecs on the board for the second time tonight.
Yeah, and, we had said this is the drive where you really need to score if you're Sean Lewis and the San Diego State Aztecs, and I think they knew just that. Are they going to try a 2-point conversion?
Yes, they are. The snap. Wildcat formation. He's brought down. He doesn't get it. Number 12, Owen Chambliss. For the Aztecs, they tried to do a Wildcat snap to him to try and run it in for the 2-point conversion, and he's shut down.
And again, on Cougar defense, that is Jack Ellison with a second huge tackle of the drive.
things are just not shaking up for the Aztecs there. They get the touchdown, but can't get the extra point. Makes it 29-13 with less than a minute, 57 seconds left in the third quarter. The Cougs are going to get the ball, and they proved it last time. They were able to put together a scoring drive in less than 30 seconds. Will they be able to do it again? We won't know. As we head to a break here before the Cougs take the ball, Justin Cougar Radio. We'll be right back. Kicker Ryan Hunter Green for the Aztecs. Winds up and delivers. Kick high and long. It's going to come up just short, and it'll be fielded by the Cougs. Leighton Smithson, he tries to run it out, but he's brought down at about the 18-yard line. And the Cougs at their own 18. We'll see if they can't put something together here with 52 seconds left in the third quarter.
Potter having a great night, 25 for 36, 239 total passing yards, 69% completion. You know, could do better on the completion, but again, utilizing his receivers. We talked about that depth of how far down the talent in the wide receiver room goes, in the running back room goes, and I'm overall incredibly pleased with the performance after a bit of a daunting game last week against Idaho.
Jackson Potter back out for the Cougs with Kirby Voorhees along with his other running back. He hands it off to Kirby Voorhees off the snap, tries to run up the gut, punches through for about 5 yards. Kirby Voorhees, standout so far tonight.
Voorhees now leading the Cougs in rushing yards, 50 yards on the night, 9 attempts, averaging about 6 yards a carry.
As there's an Aztec injury on the field for defense. Number 21, Tano Latuli, the middle linebacker for the Aztecs. He'll hustle off quickly. Looks like it might be an arm injury. His left arm is dangling to his side as both teams will take a break here.
And he is hunched down, covered by San Diego State staff. Looks like possibly even a rib or something like that. Maybe a shoulder.
Saw one of the trainers there motion to his neck, cutting towards his neck as though to say that his nights might be over. As the Cougs get back out on offense, Jackson Potter with Kirby Voorhees to his left. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Sets number 12 in motion. Sends him back over to the left. Here's the snap. The handoff to Kirby Voorhees. He'll reel out to his left. He's got room to run. Tries to dodge a defender. Breaks through. Moves the chains. First down, Kirby Voorhees.
Flag is down on the left sideline.
We'll see who this goes against. But Kirby Voorhees able to pick up a first down and about 3 extra yards.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. Replay second down.
Back-breaking, number 66, A.J. Viapulu, the right guard, caught holding.
And again, another breakout play that's weighted down by large penalties, 10, 15 yards. Third one of the night for Washington State.
They'll replay second down, 2nd and 15. There's a huge difference between picking up that first down and being moved back 15 yards.
20 seconds left to play. Clock ticking down.
We'll see if they get anything going here. They'll use a timeout. Cougs have 2 left in the half. As clock will wind down. Wazoo offense still in their huddle. And it looks like they won't get anything off before the end of this quarter as it strikes 0. Cougs 29. Aztecs 13 after the Cougs had an initial scoring drive on the first drive of the half. Norma, how are we feeling about the Cougs after that third quarter of action?
Yeah, we talked about it before the break. Just being a little bit more disciplined. That's the 3rd penalty of the night for Washington State. That's in double digits. 2 for 10, 1 for 15. And those are, very obviously avoidable. And that's 35 yards just in penalties right there, not including the 3 5-yard penalties that they had. So I think just being a little bit more defense, they're kind of hopping off. They're getting a little too, hand happy, kind of holding on a little bit too hard, holding on the offensive line, pass interference. offsides, things like that. So just kind of cool it a little bit. They're performing well. I just think it's a discipline thing and kind of just getting settled and used to their teammates.
Absolutely. 29-13, Cougars lead it as we move into the fourth quarter of action. We will be back in just a moment. You're listening to Cougar Football on KUGR live on YouTube. Don't go away. We will be right back. The student section here at Giesa Field, thinner than Brandon Chapman's hair. You talked about it off air, that the students here at Washington State University tend to leave at around halftime.
Yep.
They want to go to other parties to be able to go and drink. And so the atmosphere here at Giesa Field has been brought down. But here comes Butch out on the buggy to try and revive what is left of this Cougar crowd.
Yeah, and I want to say I have a little bit more faith in my student section than that. Part of it might just be because kickoff was not until almost 7:40 p.m. They've been hyped for game day since about 10 o'clock this morning. So it might have just been a long day and they could only make it through 2 quarters.
Jackson Potter still on offense. 2nd and 15 for the Cougs. He has Maxwell Woods off to the right as they switch sides back to the left side of the field. Cougs moving left to right. As here's the snap. Fakes the handoff to Woods. Quick pass to Josh Meredith. Reels it in for a gain of about 2. Josh Meredith, not been targeted as much as Coug fans would think, but when he's gotten the ball, he's made it count.
Well, trade in their receivers again. We've been discussing all night how much they've been utilizing about 6 different receivers on the Cougar offense.
As they sub in Leighton Smithson, who will move out to the left side. Potter still with Maxwell Woods to his right. He has Voorhees also on his right. This is a long hold here. Here's the snap. Draws back. Looks for some receivers. Gets a pass through to no one in particular. Looks like he was trying to find Carter Paps, the tight end.
Yep. Triple coverage there. Risky pass to make. Just a couple more yards, and that might have been an interception. Ran easily back for a touchdown.
As it sets up 4th and 13, and the Cougs are going to punt it away. Not going to try and go for 4th and 13. Very smart play there for the Cougs. As there's 14 minutes, 15 seconds left in this 29-13 Cougar football game. Cougars leading.
Yeah, Cougars are 2 for 12 on 3rd down conversions this evening. Not the best statistic.
Jack Stevens, here's the kick.
Flag is
Numerous.
down immediately.
Flag.
Yes.
Numerous flags down on the play. They blow the play dead immediately.
Wireless snap. Ball starts. Number 24. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Goodness.
Still fourth down.
Number 24 for the Cougs, drawn off sides.
Please reset the game clock to 14 minutes, 15 seconds. 1-4-1-5, please.
And that will officially put the Cougars at 50 yards lost in penalties this evening.
Discipline has been an issue as it keeps shooting them in the foot of
Yes.
sorts. Jordan Napier set to receive the kick at the Cougar logo. Brian Harris, punter for the Cougs. Long hold. Here's the snap and the kick. High arching shot. Napier off to his right. He'll let it bounce at the 40-yard line. Straight up, received by a Coug at their own 40-yard line, and the Aztecs have a golden opportunity already in Cougar territory with 14 minutes left in this final quarter as they are still down 29-13, Cougs leading.
Yeah, and if I'm Jesse Bobbitt here, defensive coordinator for Wazoo, this is the time to hold. That's going to put San Diego State possibly at 19, possibly at 20, and that gets, I would argue that that's a little too close for comfort for a team trying to make a statement after a poor performance the week prior.
Familiar sight, Jaden Denigol with Lucky Sutton out for the offense for the Aztecs. Denigol able to pick up a touchdown last drive, but for much of this game has just been terrorized by this Cougar defense. The snap, hands off to Lucky Sutton. No, he takes it himself. He drifts off to the left side, trying to pick up a gain of a few yards. He's forced out of bounds. Gain of about 2 to 3.
Yeah, and our in-house DJ here just absolutely rocking our ears up here in the press box. Sorry if your two announcers spooked themselves a little bit there. Just really hyped for our remaining fans here at Giesa Field.
Took me by surprise. Here's the snap to Denigol. Fakes the handoff. Quick pass over number 14. We tried to bring him down. He stays on his feet, and he's finally brought down for a loss of 1. Donovan Brown for the Aztecs.
Parker McKenna there with the tackle after a missed opportunity for no gain, but he came up right behind his teammate, made it for a 1-yard gain for the San Diego State Aztecs.
It's a quick 3rd and out here. The Aztecs, after getting the ball on the 40-yard line, now find themselves back by 11 yards. Can Denigol work some magic here and get them back into this drive?
You know the story of San Diego State and 3rd downs tonight.
Denigol, the noise mounting. Here's the snap. Takes the handoff, draws back. He's got room to throw. Here's the pass. Quick to Jordan Napier, who fields it. And he's brought down as 4 Cougs converged on him. He'll gain about 2 yards, but not nearly enough to get the first down as it sets up 4th down for the Aztecs. 4th and 7.
Yeah, and, Donovan Brown just having a tough night tonight. A key receiver in their game last week against Stony Brook, but just unable to get a lot of yards tonight.
The Aztecs are going to go for it. 4th and 7. Denigol alone in the backfield. Looks like they were trying to draw the Cougs off sides. But the Cougs are going to take a timeout here. They're second of the half, which only gives them 1 left with only 12 minutes and 27 seconds left in the 4th quarter. They lead it 29-13. And so far, the Aztecs, like we mentioned before, were set up on the 40-yard line in Cougar territory, but now find themselves 4th and 7. It is a testament to how locked down this defense has been for the Cougs.
Yeah, and talk about, a drive you're going to watch in film at practice the next day. Golden scoring opportunity for the Aztecs. And again, like you said, it's 4th and 7. They are going for it. You got to give them credit for being gutsy in Cougar territory. But again, this was the moment. Donovan Brown, the receiver on the play, now on the night, 3 receptions, -5 yards. Instead of utilizing, Jordan Napier, their highest, receiver of the night, 69 yards, 7 receptions. So, I feel like it's all about who is the guy. And I feel like Napier right now is the guy. And that might be, linebackers coming in to cover him and things like that. But other receivers just having a tough night offensively for San Diego State.
Absolutely. Looking at the upcoming schedule for SDSU, they will, after this game, head on the road. We'll head back home to Snapdragon Arena to play against California. Go on the road to Northern Illinois after that. Come back home to play against Colorado State, who the Cougs also played this year. We'll go on the road to play against Nevada. We'll stay on the road to play against Fresno State. We'll come back home to play against Wyoming. We'll go down to the Pacific Islands to play against Hawaii. We'll come back home and play against Boise State. We'll stay at home to play against San Jose State, and we'll close out their season playing at New Mexico.
And looking up at the Jumbotron here, if you're a Cougar football fan in the area around Thursday, head coach Jimmy Rogers will be at the Lumberyard there to answer any and all questions for a Cougar football hour before Washington State Cougars head on the road to face North Texas for their first matchup in franchise history down in the great state of Texas.
Jimmy Rogers getting his feet wet at the FBS level. This is his first year with the Cougs. We've been mentioning it a lot. He was a former head coach at South Dakota State University. And, of course, he's got his first taste of Cougar football last weekend, playing against the FCS school, University of Idaho. And now he's gotten his first try of the FBS level. And so far, he's been up to the task. The Cougs leading 29-13. The defense has been locked down, and the offense has been finding ways to get on the board. 2 touchdowns from Trey Lechner, the tight end, that not a lot of Coug fans were expecting to get on the board. And then another sneaky pick, Leon Neal Jr., the wide receiver, somehow getting on the board to get the 3rd touchdown of the night of the Cougs. So the unusual suspects for the Cougs getting on the board.
I absolutely would agree with you there. Trey Lechner not utilized almost at all last season except for the Holiday Bowl, and then 3rd-string receivers coming in and scoring touchdowns. I love what I'm seeing.
As the Aztecs will get set for 4th and 7 with 12 minutes, 30 seconds left. Jaden Denegal with Lucky Sutton. He sets Jordan Napier in motion off to the right. Aztecs moving right to left. This place getting loud on 4th and 7. Here's the snap. Denegal draws back, looks for a man downfield. Deep pass to Donovan Brown. Did he get it? No! It's incomplete! Double coverage. The Cougs shut it down.
Oh, man, I got so excited. I really thought that was an interception. I was about to interrupt your call.
Tucker Large gets in the play, knocks it away, and I'm with you, Norma. I thought that was an interception. It looked as though Tucker Large reeled in, couldn't quite hold on to it, bounces out of his arms, but the Cougs will settle for it. It turns over the ball at about the 40-yard line for the Cougs in their own zone, but still, it sets them up brilliantly to possibly come back and score and to continue to widen the gap.
Yeah, great quickness, great agility on the WSU defense there, putting 2-on-1 and a deep receiver almost 40 yards downfield. Love what I'm seeing from this defense. I've been saying it all night.
Jackson Potter back out again for the Cougs. So far, it's been all Potter all night. Julian Duggar barely getting any playing time today. Brings Angel Johnson in to just off his left side. Here's the snap. Takes the handoff. Gets a pass. Over to his receiver, Jeremiah Noga, who has brought down a flag on the play. We'll see who this goes against. But so far, Jeremiah Noga reels that in for a gain of about 6.
Cornerback Bryce Phillips on the tackle.
As they sort out who this penalty is against. As the chain crew comes together.
And player downfield, number 23, offense, 5-yard penalty for the previous spot. Replay first down.
So Trey Lechner illegally downfield for the Cougs. The man with 2 touchdowns tonight gets another penalty and sets up 1st and 15.
Not a common sight. You see 2 receivers illegally downfield penalties in one game.
Cougar huddle breaks. Jackson Potter has Angel Johnson to his left side. They set up with Jeremiah Noga on the far right side. One receiver on the right, another on the left. Sets Angel Johnson in motion to get right behind him in the backfield. Long hold here, trying to draw him off sides. Brings a man in motion on the left side. Here's the snap. Fakes the handoff to Angel Johnson. Immediate pressure. Tries to get a pass. Almost picked off. Jackson Potter had a man on him immediately. Trey White, the defensive end, leveled Jackson Potter as he desperately threw that ball away and almost into the arms of an Aztec.
Yeah, and you watch that San Diego State defense. They caught the safety. Safety runs along in motion to either side of the lineup with the running back. They're in man-to-man defense, and those edge rushers were able to get to Jackson Potter almost immediately because of that.
The offensive line for the Cougs really fell apart on that play. Potter's again with Johnson to his left. Sets a man in motion. Here's the snap. Handoff to Angel Johnson. Tries to move out to his right, and he's shut down. No gain. Angel Johnson tripped up by a number of Aztec bodies, and still 2nd and 15. 3rd and 15, pardon me, for the Cougs.
Yeah, if I'm Jackson Potter right here, I'm going to go with what's been working for me all night. He's got some great options at receiver, plus a pretty versatile tight end that has proven tonight that he's able to make those long passes 10, 15, 20 yards downfield.
So that's a 3rd and 16 for the Cougs. 11 minutes, 10 seconds, and counting. They're up 29-13, but a drive they could have turned into a scoring play just isn't quite panning out. 2 running backs off to the side of Jackson Potter. Takes the snap, draws back. It's a quick pass to no one in particular, trying to find, it looked like maybe Joshua Meredith there, but just sailed it over the head of numerous bodies. Sets up 4th and 16, and the Cougs are going to have to give it away.
Yeah, and again, it's just that pressure coming in from Brady Nasser and Niles King, the edge rushers for San Diego State. It's just, he kind of just freaked out and tried to get the ball out of his hands as soon as possible. Smart, knowing how close he is, though, to his own end zone.
Ryan Harris, the punter for the Cougs, with Jordan Napier for the Aztecs. Backfield, here's the kick. Deep shot. Napier goes off to his right, lets it bounce. It's a good bounce there for the Aztecs as it's finally fielded by number 27 for the Cougs. And it sets up the Aztecs at the 39-yard line with 10 minutes, 49 seconds left in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and, drive didn't go the way we wanted it to. I will say again, now this is 55 yards and penalties and just totally avoidable. I mean, illegal receiver downfield. That's 10 yards right there and something that should not be happening. And I don't know if that's a coaching decision or just confusion on the play call. But I just, you got to be a little bit more disciplined with that and really run away with this win. I would love it if the Cougars here could make a statement about the team they are, kind of clear Rogers' name a little bit, prove that he can play at this level, that he's got a good head on his shoulders, and that he knows what he's doing offensively, not just defensively.
So far, the Cougs separated from the Aztecs by at least 2 possessions, 29-13. Cougs leading it, as the Aztecs will have the ball at the Cougar 39-yard line. We'll head to a break. We'll be right back. You're listening to Cougar Football Live on KUGR Sports. Do not go away. We'll be right back. Eight penalties so far tonight for the Cougs for a total of 55 lost yards, as opposed to only 3 for the Aztecs for 25 yards. Norma, you were mentioning that before we headed to break. Discipline has been an issue for the Cougs so far tonight, and despite that, they are still up 29-13 over these Aztecs as Jaden Denigel goes out yet again for the Aztecs. A lot of weight on his shoulders so far tonight, only able to pick up 2 touchdowns. He has Lucky Sutton to the left as the referees sort out the placements, and they'll let them get underway here. 10 minutes, 49 seconds left. Denegal takes the snap, hands it off to Lucky Sutton, tries to run up the middle, runs into some bodies, trying to break through, and he will get nothing. Only a gain of about 2 yards. Lucky Sutton. It's been a breakout running back so far tonight for the Aztecs, but just can't get anything there.
The only Cougar not on that body pile was defensive end Buda Palede. So talk about Cougars hungry for a stop on defense.
They close the gap as Jaden Denegal again has Lucky Sun to his right. Will he hand it off again? No. Draws back, looks for his receiver, finds him. He's got his man as he falls down on the ball. Jacob Bostic picks up a first down, moves the chains, and gets the Aztecs to about the 52-yard line. Actually, 47-yard line, pardon me.
Yeah, Jacob Bostic, a standout receiver last week, now with only his second reception.
Denegal hands it off to Lucky Sutton, who breaks off to the left side, runs into a defensive body, falls down, gain of about 5 or so yards. Lucky Sutton, again, we've been saying it all night, consistently gaining at least a few yards every rush.
Yeah, and it looks like possible O lineman there for San Diego State, a little tender on his right leg. Right tackle Joe Borgen. Watch how he does.
Denegal, Lucky to his left, fakes the handoff, draws back at the Cougar logo, trying to find someone to pass to. He evades the pressure, drifts out to his right side, gets a pass downfield to Napier, way out of bounds. He collides with the video board into the media area. Hopefully Abby's okay down there.
Yeah, and that was just kind of a missed call by Buda Palete. Again, the defensive end there just came in with too much heat. Kind of got left in the dust there by jogging laterally.
Yeah, Buda Palete trying to get the sack on Jaden Denegal, but Jaden Denegal just evaded him. He was able to drift out to his right as it sets up 3rd and 5. Denegal tries to draw the Cougs off sides, doesn't work, has to call an audible. 3rd and 5, 9 minutes, 17 seconds left. Denegal trying to coordinate things, running out of time. Finally gets the snap, takes the handoff, and they'll blow this play dead. It looks like someone may have called. There's a flag on the field.
Number 2, offense.
Flag on Jordan Napier, his first penalty of the evening.
He draws a false start for the Aztecs, moves them back. And that is brutal. 3rd down and 10.
9-1-7, please.
The Aztecs trying their best to drive downfield, trying to put together a scoring drive. But the defense for the Cougs has been all over them all night. As Christian Washington subs in for Lucky Sutton. Here's the snap. Denegal drops back. Tries to find a receiver. It's blocked. It's shut down at the line. Number 90 for the Cougs. Absolutely denies him.
Yeah, and Jimmy Rogers is using his entire roster today. Assisted on that tackle is Sony Finau, defensive tackle there. Again, another 3rd-string guy coming in, making a name for himself in the first real test of the season. That's got to say something about the depth that you must have as a coach to put those guys in a huge game.
They like to make it hard on us, putting in 3rd-string guys we don't have on our spotting chart. As the Aztecs will try and go for it here on 4th down, 4th and 9. Denegal with Washington. Here's the snap. Draws back, trying to find a receiver. Wheels out to his right, and he will be brought down. The Cougs say no. The Aztecs will not convert. They'll turn it over, and the Cougs will have it in the Aztec zone with 9 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. Absolutely electric.
Buda Palete responding to his missed sack just 3 snaps earlier with a huge tackle for loss.
This defense has been all over the Aztecs, and it finally pays off with a crucial sack on 4th down to put the Cougs in the Aztec zone with an opportunity to continue to pull away in this game.
Yeah, and I was saying earlier, what stuff really hypes me up as a Cougar myself, as somebody, an enjoyer of football. And I was saying earlier, safeties, they're sacks with points attached, and then just regular sacks. I enjoy those as well, especially when they are pinned with 10 yards of a loss there. Really gets me going as a fan.
29 for the Cougs, 13 for the Aztecs. 9 minutes, 5 seconds left on the clock. The Cougs will have it at the 42-yard line in the Aztec zone. Will they be able to put together another scoring drive? We'll see if they can. You're listening to Cougar Football here live on KUGR. We'll head to a break as we get set for this Cougar drive. Please don't go away. Buddha Paletti tracks down Jaden Denigal like a bloodhound and sets up the Cougs in the Aztec zone for a potential scoring drive here with 9 minutes, 5 seconds left. Jackson Potter will lead this Cougar offense in the waning stages of this last quarter. The Cougs pummeling the Aztecs so far tonight, 29-13, as the Aztecs have just had nothing going for them on offense. Jackson Potter alone in the backfield. 2 receivers to his left, no one to his right. As the refs will finally clear out and let him go to work. A hush falls over the crowd. Puolasi moves off to the left side of Potter. He hands it off to him. Puolasi trying to break off to the right side. He is shut down. Nowhere to run. A gain of about 2 yards. Puolasi trying to find a gap, and the offensive line for the Cougs unable to create any room for him to run.
Again, they'll trot out and sub out another receiver now. Leon Neal Jr., touchdown scorer earlier in the game, will trot into the game for just his second drive of the game.
We've seen this offense target those unsung heroes quite a bit so far tonight. Trey Lechner for 2, Leon Neal Jr. for 1. We'll see if maybe they go to him again. Possibly a deep ball here. As Puolasi is yet again set up to the left side of Potter. He sets Leighton Smithson in motion. Hands off to Puolasi, trying to break on the right side. And yet again, he's got 5 Aztecs pushing him back. He'll be stopped. And only a gain of possibly about 1 yard.
Yeah. Aztecs able to pick up on that similar play really quickly right off the bat there. Yes, 3rd and 6 now.
Quite a few subs. They bring in Freeman. They bring in Josh Meredith. And they bring in number 8 for the Cougs. All receivers. So they'll break the huddle. 3rd and 6. 7 minutes, 47 seconds left. Cougs leading 29-13. Potter has Puolasi to his left. He sets number 8 in motion. Here's the snap. Draws back into the pocket. Here's a pass across to Freeman, and he's got him. He stays on his feet. He stays in bounds. He's finally hit out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Tony Freeman, way to get it done.
Eric Butler there in coverage. Cannot even believe the catch I just saw from Tony Freeman. Talk about locked up there and able to just get away with it and kind of just tiptoe his way down the sideline.
Tony Freeman, a jack of all trades on this Cougar football team. He does work on special teams, and he gets it done on offense as well. Very similar to Jordan Napier for the Aztecs, as Jackson Potter has 2 running backs off to his side, Voorhees and Puolasi. Fakes the snap, trying to draw him off sides. Here it is. Hands off to Voorhees, who tries to run up the gut. He runs into 2 Aztecs, gain of about 3 yards, and he's finally pushed back as he just inches this Cougar offense closer and closer to the end zone.
Yeah, and you know, this is coming as a fan perspective, but I would love to see not only will the Cougars beat the spread, which was 1.5, but Cougars putting up double-digit points just is such a different team from what we've seen last week, struggling 3 total rushing yards last week and then around 200 passing yards. And this is a blowout compared to the team that we saw last week at Giza.
Jackson Potter with Voorhees to his left, sets him in motion, moves off to his right. Finally, here's the snap. Hands it off to Voorhees. No, he doesn't. He fakes it. Gets it off to his receiver, Trey Lechner, who lowers the shoulder, and the ball spits out and goes out of bounds. Was he down? Is it a fumble? The referees will have to come together and sort this out. What an insane play on the quick pass to Trey Lechner as he tried to lower the shoulder. We'll see what they rule here.
Pass will probably be ruled incomplete as it was out of bounds. Yeah, it looks like Cougs now lining up again, 3rd and 2.
So they'll give him the reception as he was hit, possibly went down, and then the ball came out as Jackson Potter sets up his offense quickly, sets some men in motion on the line. He has Voorhees directly behind him. Taking a while to snap this ball. Here it is. Hands off to Voorhees, runs up the gut to the left side, breaks through for the first down, moves the chains, puts him within 15 yards. The Cougs are hungry for more as they still lead 29-13 with 5 minutes, 30 seconds left.
Yeah, offense, they're kind of sailing on the backs of San Diego State D linemen as they kind of floated their way to pick up an extra few yards.
1st and 10 at the 14-yard line. Jackson Potter still out for the Cougs. The Cougs have barely leaned on Julian Duggar so far tonight, as Potter yet again has Voorhees behind him in the backfield. Sets Freeman in motion, moving across the left side. Here's the snap. Hand off to Voorhees, trying to run up the gut, and he has nowhere to go as he's swallowed up and thrown to the ground. Gain of only about 1 to 2 yards. Voorhees, after a few explosive runs earlier in the game, has come up with almost nada trying to run up the gut.
Voorhees, though, still racking up those yards. Even those gritty, tough yards only pick up 1 or 2. Just, dink more yards onto his statistics for the night. Leading the Cougar offense in rushing yards. 12 attempts, 65 yards total for the night. And, Angel Johnson, not even a close second with a mere 30.
Johnson subs in for this game now as Potter has him right behind him. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Here's the snap. Hand off to Johnson. Tries to move to the left side and has nowhere to go. The Aztec defense swallows him whole and throws him to the ground. No gain on that play.
Yeah, in fact, that might be a loss of yards there, and they're going to call a timeout. Yeah, I would too.
San Diego State charges their first timeout of the game with 4 minutes, 14 seconds left. 29 for the Cougs, 13 for the Aztecs as the Cougs trying to run the ball here in the red zone and coming up with nothing. The run defense for the Aztecs keeps shutting them down, and the offensive line for the Cougs struggling to create holes. That's something we saw last weekend against Idaho, and it's been better this week, this game against SDSU, but showing some signs of what you saw last week with these past couple runs.
Yeah, we were talking about the run block. Wazoo last week struggled so much in the red zone. That's when they were trying to run the ball, is just kind of jamming up into the end zone there, and their offensive line just couldn't figure it out. Didn't have enough time to make those gaps or feasible routes for their running backs. And I'm seeing a little bit of that, but it's a world of difference from 3 net rushing yards to over 200.
3rd and 8. Jackson Potter sets Meredith in motion. He chops. There's the snap. Draws out to his right side. Potter, he's going to take it himself. He slides down, avoids the hit, and picks up a few yards there. Puts the Cougs within the 10-yard line. He's going to set up 4th down here. And the Cougs are going to bring out the field goal units. They're going to settle for just 3 here on this drive.
Yeah, smart move. Can't leave points on the board, 3rd and, what is that? Yeah, 4th and 7. So, and that's not even 4th and goal. That's 4th and 7. So, smart move. Put 3 extra points up on the board. Widen that gap even more. They've got 4 minutes left. And if they're running the ball the way I think they're gonna, this game is gonna be done here in exactly 4 minutes and 8 seconds.
Going back before that last play when the Cougs were in their huddle, Coug fans might have seen that Zevi Eckhouse was in the huddle along with Jackson Potter. When they broke, Zevi hustled back off the field, back to the sidelines. So Zevi Eckhouse, although he hasn't seen the field at all so far tonight, still, you mentioned before, he's a glue guy. He's out there hyping up his boys every single play as Jack Stevens heads out to the field for the Cougs. Gets set for this field goal. Here's the snap and the kick. It's blocked. It's stuffed. The Aztecs block it. It's picked up by number 0 for the Aztecs. The 40, the 30, the 20, the 10. No one will touch him. Touchdown, Aztecs.
Well, I take back everything I just said, and I think the Cougars need to score 1 more time. Oh, goodness. Wow.
Bryce Phillips, the cornerback for the Aztecs, dove, blocked the shot, was able to be picked up by number 0, Bryce Phillips, who ran it all the way back.
Oh, and they'll call it back. Penalty on San Diego State.
Can you believe
Oh, my
it?
goodness.
If you were an SDSU fan, you got absolutely hyped for that touchdown return, but now it is completely erased and snuffed out. Yeah. And the Cougs are going to be set up here yet again for another field goal, and we'll see if it doesn't end up a little bit better.
Wow. That is something. My goodness.
I feel a little bit silly for my touchdown call
I
there.
do. But you know what? It sounds great anyway. It's about the energy.
For portfolio purposes, they never have to know about this part here. So it'll work out great as the Cougs inch themselves a little bit closer. Not enough for a first down. So Jack Stevens will go out yet again for the field goal. 3 minutes, 57 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. 29-13 Cougs as Jack Stevens lines himself up, getting ready for this second field goal attempt. Here's the snap and the kick. Almost blocked that time, but this time Jack Stevens nails
Another
it.
flag.
And another flag down on the field.
Yeah, you know, I talked about how flags ruin touchdown-winning drives. That was an offsides penalty on the defense, and it destroyed that entire, I believe that's a 90-yard run back for a touchdown. And it is kaput because of a 5-yard penalty.
The soul of this Cougar crowd was sucked after that touchdown return.
And another offsides is called.
And now
it's the first.
And now the Cougs will have a second chance on offense. The lack of discipline from the Aztecs gives the Cougs a second chance to be able to score here in the fourth quarter. 3 minutes, 53 seconds left, basically 4 minutes left in this fourth quarter. And a drive that was thought to have stalled out in the red zone now has Jackson Potter trotting back out onto the field.
Now, instead of a monumental 4th and 8, we have a 1st and goal. We've got 4 downs to make a touchdown happen and widen that lead that much more.
Jackson Potter with Angel Johnson to the left side, sets him in motion directly behind him. Here's the snap. Handoff to Angel Johnson, who gets swallowed up for a loss. Angel Johnson had nowhere to go. The defense for the Aztecs broke through that offensive line like it was wet toilet paper and absolutely shut down Angel Johnson.
Third and final, charge from out of the half, San Diego State. 30 seconds.
San Diego State now trying to regroup after 2 crucial penalties called against their defensive linemen. There are 2 offsides calls back-to-back in an attempt to block that field goal.
Not the start that the Cougs were hoping for there after they were given a golden opportunity on a silver platter from the Aztecs. Try to run it up the middle with Angel Johnson. Johnson had absolutely nowhere to go as San Diego State will charge their second timeout of the half. A quick one here as the Cougs break out of their huddle and the Aztecs hurry back out there. Cougs still leading 29-13 here with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Norma with the Cougs knocking on the door here. What do they need to do with only 5 yards left to go to possibly pull away with this game?
I mean, I've watched them run the same run play 3 times in a row, and I think SDSU is now picking up on that play. And I don't know if you see this, but, you know, they're stacking on, what is that, left. So looking for a little variety here.
Jackson Potter with Voorhees. Here's the snap. Hands it off to Voorhees. Runs to the right side. Runs into the defense. Picks up a few yards and inches ever closer. Sets up third down. But the Cougs so close to getting that one touchdown to put this out of reach of the Aztecs.
Yeah, and again, it's only 2 yards. It went from 2nd and 5 to 3rd and 3. I would love to see a little variety here on this play because if we give up not only 2 chances at a field goal and then 4 free downs at a touchdown, I'm going to be a little upset.
A very Frankenstein drive here for the Cougs. Got lucky with a couple offsides penalties for the Aztecs to give them that second life to be able to possibly get a touchdown here as the referees will talk with the Cougar offense here. The whistle will be blown.
And final.
And the timeout will be charged by the Cougs as they are looking to drive the dagger into the heart of the Aztecs here. They'll take their final timeout of the half. Smith Slye joined by Norma Fulwiler up in the booth at Isa Field. We'll be right back after this break. Courtesy of our sideline reporter, Abby, she saw that Jimmy Rogers broke his stoicism for the first time tonight after that second offsides call as the Cougs sub in Julian Duggar instead of Jackson Potter. Voorhees to his right. Here's the snap. Handoff. No, Julian Duggar will take himself. Running for the touchdown. Julian Duggar gets the dagger and makes this out of reach of the Aztecs. The Cougs get the needed touchdown to pull away.
Yeah, and you've said all night, Smith, This has been a game of underdogs, third-string receivers, tight ends that didn't look too good coming into the spring game. Now our second-string quarterback with a rushing touchdown, the first touchdown of his career, and only his third game, his second at a brand new school all the way across the country.
Norma, you were mentioning it before. The Cougs needed to lean on Julian Duggar in the red zone.
Yeah.
They subbed him in for that play with only 2 yards, and he gets it done as Jack Stevens nails the extra point, makes this 36-13. Cougs ahead by more than 2 possessions with only 2 minutes, 48 seconds left. And the Aztecs, as this game has gone on, has watched it slip more and more and more out of their grasp, like sand dripping through their hands.
I love the metaphors that you've been bringing to this broadcast all night. And with that, we will take a quick break. And thank you for listening to KUGR Radio. We will be right back.
$36 for the Cougs, 13 for the Aztecs, with 2 minutes, 48 seconds left after Julian Duggar gets his first touchdown of the year, doing what he does best, rushing as a quarterback, able to drive in with no one touching him, able to drive in on the right side as the Cougs kick off here to the Aztecs. Napier watches it bounce into the end zone for a touchback, and the Aztecs have maybe one more drive up their sleeve here with 2 minutes, 48 seconds left, staring down a more than 2 possession game here as the Cougs have just berated them all night tonight.
And yeah, hopefully the Aztecs can make something happen with 48 seconds here left before the 2-minute timeout. And if they do, will that timeout break that momentum that they might possibly get? I think this next minute is really crucial to see, not if they're going to win, but what they can prove they can do on offense.
Jaden Denegal alone in the backfield. 3 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Here's the snap. Draws back, plenty of time to throw. Airs it out, downfield to his man. No, he can't hold on to it. Dropped by number 14, Donovan Brown.
And again,
Denegal.
we've been, saying all night, what a tough night this young man's been having. Some decent balls, but just a little bit out of his grasp all night.
Denegal threw an absolute dart, just a little bit wide of Brown. Moves that ball a little bit more to the right, and it's right into the breadbasket. As Denegal has Christian Washington to his right. Here's the snap, fakes the handoff, draws back. Here come the Cougs, a blitz, and they get him. They bring him down. This Cougar defense hates Jaden Denegal as they bring him down yet again for another sack and for a huge loss.
That's going to be Max Balloon there on the sack, his first of the night. The redshirt senior defensive tackle coming in from South Dakota State University.
3rd down and 25.
Ooh, don't you love to hear that?
Jaden Denegal has quite the mountain to surpass here with Christian Walker off to the left side. Long hold here. Here's the snap. Draws back. Has to wheel out to his left. He tries to pitch it there to Christian Washington, who spins and is still brought down only for a gain of a few yards, and it's not going to be enough. 4th down now for the Aztecs as this drive fell out of their grasp.
Clock ticking down now, under 2 minutes. This will be now the 2-minute timeout. Clock running, minute 39 left to play. Kind of confused why they didn't stop it, but that's okay. Might have to, brush up on my NCAA rules a little bit.
Absolutely. Cougs lead this game 36-13. Much different than last week's matchup against the University of Idaho, where they only managed 13 points. And so far, they have more than doubled their total on the season. We head to the 2-minute timeout here on KUGR Live on YouTube. Smith Slye, joined by Norma Fulwiler in the booth. We'll be right back, so don't go away. As the Cougs still lead it here 36-13 with 2 minutes left on the clock after the 2-minute warning. We will send it down to our sideline reporter, Abby Barrickston. Abby, how is it looking down there on the field?
Abby, any report from down there on the field? Alrighty, she must be delved up in something real exciting. We'll head back up here to the press box. Thank you so much for listening to KUGR Radio.
Definitely running into some technical difficulties here in the press box. We got a couple issues with the Wi-Fi as well, so a number of issues. But Abby did report, courtesy of her, that the energy down on the Cougar sideline before that last touchdown from Julian Duggar was very tense. They were very anxious. This game was still within reach of the Aztecs, but after that last touchdown by Julian Duggar, they took a big sigh of relief. And of course, it's gonna be interesting to see if maybe they take their foot off the pedal here.
Yeah, student section now just messing around, pleased with this almost 100% guaranteed win.
A ghost town so far in the student
Yes.
section for the Cougs, as the Aztecs punt it away on 4th and 20. The kick is up. Fair catch signaled by Tony Freeman, who reels in the catch at around the 38-yard line. And the Cougs are going to have an opportunity here to get another dagger, potentially get the last touchdown of the game with 1:49 seconds left here in the fourth quarter.
Tony Freeman being quick on his feet all night, really favoring not waving off that fair catch. But, I think that was a smart decision. I think San Diego State might be a little frustrated at this point, and there were 4 coming at that guy. And so to call out a fair catch, 36-yard line, I think you've got enough.
An absolutely explosive night tonight for the Cougs, putting up 36 points. A much different team than what Coug fans saw last weekend against the University of Idaho, as Jackson Potter has taken the vast majority of the snaps so far tonight, and he's back out there again with Angel Johnson way back in the backfield. Takes the snap, takes a knee, and it looks like the Cougs are going to try and run down the clock here with 1:40 left in the game.
And that's a classy move there by WSU. Almost a full 2 minutes left, and they don't want to shove it down their throat. I don't hate that. Classy move by Coach Rogers to call that ball dead and run that down a little bit. They might have to run a couple plays, but overall, it's a blowout win. Either way you slice it.
Jackson Potter and his offensive linemen there were hyping up the few remaining fans, as you can see fans heading for the exits, even though there's still a minute left to play, as Jackson Potter yet again will take another snap and yet again take another knee, as there is exactly a minute left here in the game. Cougs leading 36-13. 3rd and 14 for the Cougs, as they're just going to try and run this clock out in a game where they put the pedal to the metal for 4 straight quarters and absolutely punched the mouth of the Aztecs, 36-13.
Yeah, and you might have to refresh my memory on this. Remind me, is there a limit to how many times a team can take a knee? Is it?
Well, until they run out of downs, they're on 3rd down here, so they're gonna do it yet again.
Right.
Potter set up for another knee,
Yep.
Takes the snap, drops the knee, flips the ball behind him into the hands of Angel Johnson with 20 seconds left. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the game. Both teams storm the field here as they do their handshakes, do all the formalities of college football, and week 2 goes to the Cougs, 2-0 to start the year on a monumental win, 36-13 against the SDSU Aztecs. Fireworks here at Kisa Field as the last remaining fans make their way to the exits. Norma, what did we see in that game, and what are we expecting for the Cougs heading into week 3 at North Texas?
The first thing I'll say is that this really calms the nerves and makes our upcoming schedule a lot less daunting than it was in week 1. Barely escaping by the skin of our teeth against our only FCS opponent of the year. Watching that was tough. Oh my gosh, how are we going to play next week against San Diego State? Moving on, Apple Cup. That's our next big game at home against our rival school. Then going into Ole Miss. Ole Miss, that game that's coming up, that's the first SEC team Washington State has played since 2013. So that's a big game. And performances like this, 396 total yards for Washington State, that makes fans feel better about the schedule. That makes football enjoyers, see that schedule as less of a task. And that's what I come away with from this game is those wins seem a little bit more feasible now that I've seen what we can do, not only defensively, but offensively as well.
Trey Lechner, 2 touchdowns tonight. Leon Neal Jr., a touchdown as well. And to cap it off, Julian Duggar picks up his first touchdown as a Coug. The Roger regime looking strong for the Cougs after week 2 with a solid 36-13 win. I'm Smith Slye, joined by Norma Fulwiler with Abby Breckstein down on the field sideline reporting. You were listening to KUGR Sports live from Gisa Field. We thank you all so much for listening to us tonight. And as always, good night and good luck.